I never imagined that at 48, the perfect world I'd built over 26 years of marriage would crumble just because of a small-sized red lace La Perla thong pulled from the back seat of my husband's Porsche. I'm Margaret Thompson, wife of the renowned surgeon Robert, mother to Michael, my beloved son, and the stepmother that Ashley, my daughter-in-law, called Mom with her radiant smile every morning. Mom, I love you so much. Those words now echo like a knife twisting in my heart. The unfamiliar perfume on the leather seats, jasmine and vanilla, not mine, not anyone's in our family. Robert, the man I trusted completely, with his increasingly frequent emergency surgeries in Malibu, what was he hiding behind that flawless facade? My hands trembled as I opened the AirTag tracking app. The car stopped at a luxury hotel, not the operating room. Is this just a common affair, or a more horrific secret that could tear apart not only my marriage but my son's heart too? What I discovered next and will horrify you, because it involves the very person I once treated like my own daughter. Listen closely, for my story doesn't end in pain, it begins there. Welcome to Voices of Auntie Rose, where stories of family, forgiveness, resilience, and the courage to rise above betrayal come to life with heart and soul. We're so glad you're here, joining a community that celebrates the unbreakable human spirit. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story. And it would be amazing if you could like this video, share it, or drop a comment letting us know what time it is and which city or country you're watching from. Your shares and comments are the greatest gift, the powerful inspiration that keeps this channel growing and spreading meaningful life lessons every single day. Now, let's dive into today's story. I never imagined that at 48 years old, my carefully constructed world would crumble like a house of cards in a hurricane. My name is Margaret Thompson, and this is my story. A tale of betrayal so profound that even now, months later, my hands still tremble when I think about it. October in Beverly Hills had always been my favorite time of year. The oppressive summer heat finally gave way to gentle 70-degree afternoons, and the jacaranda trees along Rodeo Drive painted the streets with their purple blooms. That particular Tuesday morning started like any other in our $8 million Mediterranean villa. I was in the kitchen, preparing Robert's favorite breakfast: egg white omelet with spinach and feta, whole grain toast, and freshly squeezed orange juice from the trees in our backyard. "Smells amazing, honey," Robert said, entering the kitchen while adjusting his Hermes tie. At 51, my husband still cut an impressive figure, silver-haired, distinguished, with the confident bearing of someone who'd performed over 3,000 successful cosmetic surgeries. He kissed my cheek absently, his attention already on his phone. "Big surgery today?" I asked, pouring his coffee into his favorite mug, the one Michael had given him 15 years ago that read "World's Best Dad." 2 rhinoplasties and a facelift. "Might be late again tonight." He didn't look up from his screen. That should have been my first warning sign. Robert had been late 3 nights a week for the past 2 months, but I trusted him completely. After 26 years of marriage, why wouldn't I? Our son Michael burst into the kitchen with his characteristic enthusiasm. At 30, he'd inherited his father's height and my green eyes. "Morning, Mom. Morning, Dad." He grabbed an apple from the counter. "Ashley's meeting me for lunch at the country club. Want to join us?" Ashley. My daughter-in-law of 18 months. 29 years old, blonde, stunning, with nearly 2 million Instagram followers who hung on her every post about luxury lifestyle and wellness. She called me Mom with such sweetness it made my heart melt every time. "I'd love to, sweetheart, but I have a board meeting," I replied. As Senior Vice President of Marketing at Technova Industries, I managed a department of 40 people and oversaw campaigns worth $20 million annually. "Give Ashley my love." The irony of those words haunts me still. After they left, I stood in my pristine kitchen, surrounded by Sub-Zero appliances and Carrara marble countertops, feeling an inexplicable emptiness. Our housekeeper, Rosa, who'd worked for us for 15 years, noticed my mood. "Senora Margaret, you okay?" she asked with genuine concern. "Just tired, Rosa. Nothing a good night's sleep won't fix." But sleep had been elusive lately. Robert would slip into bed after midnight, shower running first, always the shower, even though he'd supposedly been in sterile operating rooms all day. When I'd reach for him, he'd mumble about exhaustion and turn away. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend, Jennifer Walsh, a Superior Court judge. "Lunch tomorrow? Need to catch up." I smiled, typing back, "Absolutely. Usual place? Jennifer had been my rock since college. If anyone could ease this strange anxiety gnawing at me, it would be her. That afternoon, I left my office early, a rarity for me. Perhaps it was intuition, or maybe just the universe preparing me for what was to come. I decided to surprise Robert with dinner reservations at Mastro's, our special place where he'd proposed 27 years ago. Driving my Tesla through the familiar streets, I called his office. His secretary, Patricia, answered with her usual professionalism. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Thompson, but Dr. Thompson left after his morning surgery. He said he had an emergency consultation in Malibu." Malibu. Again. The third emergency there this month. Of course I managed. Thank you, Patricia. I sat in my car outside the medical center, my hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. A memory surfaced unbidden, last week, finding a receipt from La Perla in Robert's jacket. $800 for lingerie. When I'd asked, he'd said it was a surprise for our anniversary next month. The doubt crept in like fog over the ocean, slow but inevitable. 26 years, 2 beautiful children, a life that others envied, charity galas where we were the golden couple, vacations in Saint-Tropez. Everything Instagram perfect, as Ashley would say. Ashley, who hugged me so warmly. Ashley, who helped me redecorate the guest house. Ashley, who sat beside me at Michael's birthday dinner last month, holding my hand when I got emotional during my speech. The California sun was setting as I drove home, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. I didn't know then that within 24 hours, everything I believed about my life would shatter into a million irreparable pieces. But on that Tuesday evening in October, I was still just Margaret Thompson, successful executive, devoted mother, trusting wife. How foolish I was. Wednesday morning arrived with an unusual chill that had me reaching for my cashmere cardigan, the soft gray one Robert had given me for Christmas last year. "You look beautiful in anything," he'd said then, "but this brings out your eyes." Now, as I wrapped it around myself, his words felt hollow, like echoes in an empty room. The board meeting that morning was crucial. We were discussing a $40 million campaign for a new tech product launch. Yet I couldn't focus. My mind kept drifting to Robert's behavior over the past weeks. The way he'd guard his phone like it contained state secrets. The new cologne, Tom Ford Noir instead of his usual Armani. The gym membership at Equinox that he'd suddenly renewed after 3 years, claiming he needed to stay competitive with younger surgeons. "Margaret, your thoughts?" David Chen, our CEO, was looking at me expectantly. I'd completely missed the question. "I apologize, David. Could you repeat that?" He frowned slightly. I never lost focus in meetings. The influencer marketing strategy. Do we move forward with the proposed budget? Yes, absolutely. Our research shows a 300% ROI when we partner with the right influencers. I forced myself back into professional mode, but Jennifer, who was consulting for our legal department, caught my eye with concern. After the meeting, she pulled me aside. "Margaret, honey, what's going on? You look like you haven't slept in days." "Just stress," I lied, managing a weak smile. "You know how fourth quarter gets." She studied me with those sharp brown eyes that missed nothing in her courtroom. "Is it Robert?" The question hit too close to home. Why would you ask that? Because I saw his Porsche at the Shutters Hotel in Santa Monica last Thursday when I was there for a judicial conference. Middle of the day. His surgery day, isn't it? My stomach dropped. Maybe he was meeting a patient. Jennifer's expression said everything her words didn't. She squeezed my shoulder. "Call me if you need anything, day or night." I left the office at 3, telling my assistant I had a migraine. It wasn't entirely a lie. My head was pounding with a mixture of anxiety and dread. Instead of going home, I drove to Robert's medical center. His silver Porsche 911 Turbo sat in its reserved spot, gleaming in the afternoon Sunday. I had a key to his car. We'd always shared everything. No secrets, we'd promised each other. My hands shook as I unlocked it, the familiar beep seeming unnaturally loud in the empty parking garage. The interior smelled wrong. Not just the leather and his cologne, but something floral, sweet, jasmine and vanilla. A woman's perfume. My chest tightened as I opened the glove compartment. Registration papers, insurance documents, his spare sunglasses, normal. Then I checked the back seat. Nothing visible, but as I ran my hand along the floor behind the driver's seat, my fingers touched fabric. Silky. Wrong. I pulled it out, and the world tilted. Red lace. La Perla, the tag confirmed. Size small. A thong that probably cost more than most people's car payments. Definitely not mine. I hadn't worn a small since before Michael was born. The parking garage spun around me. I stumbled out of the car, barely making it to a concrete pillar before my legs gave out. My $800 breakfast came up, leaving me gasping and shaking on the cold concrete. A security guard rushed over. "Ma'am, are you all right? Should I call 911? "No," I managed, wiping my mouth with a tissue from my purse. "Just food poisoning." He helped me to a bench, brought me water from his station. Carlos, his name tag read. A kind man with worried eyes who reminded me of my father. "You sure you're okay to drive, senora?" I nodded, though I wasn't sure of anything anymore. The lingerie burned in my purse like evidence of a crime, which I supposed it was. Somehow I made it home. Rosa took one look at me and guided me to the sofa. "Senora, you're white as paper. What happened?" "I think I have the flu," I lied, clutching a throw pillow to my chest like armor. She brought me tea, chamomile with honey, the way my mother used to make it. My mother, who'd warned me about marrying a man too handsome, too charming. "Those types always need more attention than one woman can give," she'd said. I'd laughed it off then, young and in love, and certain that Robert and I were different. Ashley texted me around 5. "Missed you at lunch today. Michael says you're not feeling well. Sending healing vibes." The emoji made me want to scream. Everything felt fake now, performative. Even my daughter-in-law's sweetness seemed suspect. Was I losing my mind? Becoming one of those paranoid wives who suspected everyone? Robert came home at 7, early for him lately. He found me curled on the sofa where Rosa had left me with soup I couldn't eat. "Honey, what's wrong?" He felt my forehead, his surgeon's hands cool and steady. The same hands that had held mine through labor, that had wiped my tears when my father died, that had touched another woman. "Just not feeling well," I said, studying his face, looking for guilt, for tells. But he was smooth as always, concerned and attentive. "Let me examine you properly." He checked my pulse, looked in my throat, all the while maintaining that professional distance he could summon at will. Probably viral. "You should rest." "Robert," I started, then stopped. "How did one ask? Is everything okay? With us, I mean?" He paused, just for a heartbeat. "Of course. Why would you ask that? You've been so distant lately. Working late, the new cologne, the gym, Margaret." He sat beside me, took my hands. His wedding ring caught the light, platinum, inscribed with "Forever Yours" on the inside. "I'm planning something special for our anniversary. That's why I've been secretive. I wanted it to be perfect." His blue eyes were so sincere. This was the man who'd cried at both our children's births, who'd held my mother's hand as she died, who'd built this life with me brick by brick. "There's a lingerie receipt," I said quietly, "in your jacket." Part of the surprise. He smiled, that crooked grin that had made me fall for him in medical school. "Though you've ruined it now, detective." He was so convincing. So naturally at ease. If I hadn't found that thong, I would have believed him completely. But it sat in my purse like a poisonous secret, size small, mocking everything I wanted to believe. Michael called during dinner to check on me. "Mom, you sound terrible. Want me to come over?" "No, sweetheart. Just need rest. Ashley sends her love. She's making you her famous immune-boosting smoothie recipe for tomorrow." Ashley. Sweet, thoughtful Ashley with her yoga-toned body and size small everything. Ashley, who'd been at the country club today, just 20 minutes from the medical center. I excused myself, locked the bathroom door, and vomited again until nothing was left but bile and tears. In the mirror, a stranger stared back, hollow-eyed, aged 10 years in one afternoon. This was what betrayal looked like. Not dramatic or cinematic, just a middle-aged woman falling apart on Italian marble tiles, clutching red lace evidence of a life built on lies. Robert knocked. "Honey, you okay?" "Fine," I lied, flushing the toilet to cover my sobs, "just the flu." But we both knew the truth, even if only I would admit it. The perfect life was over. I just didn't know yet how much worse it would get. That night, I lay beside my husband of 26 years, feeling like a stranger in my own bed. He slept peacefully, occasionally murmuring in his dreams. Once, I could have sworn he whispered a name. It wasn't mine. Thursday morning, I sat in my Tesla in the parking lot of a nondescript office building in Culver City, gripping Jennifer's business card so tightly it left creases in my palm. She'd texted me the contact at dawn: Tom Rodriguez, private investigator, discreet, trustworthy, used him for several cases, 31055500147. My hands trembled as I dialed. Each ring felt like a hammer blow to my chest. Rodriguez Investigations, a gravelly voice answered. Mr. Rodriguez? I need your help. My friend Jennifer Walsh recommended you. Judge Walsh? Then you must need serious help. Can you come in today? An hour later, I sat across from Tom Rodriguez in his sparse office that smelled of burnt coffee and old leather. He was in his 50s, Hispanic, with kind eyes that had seen too much. His wall displayed licenses, commendations, and a photo of him in marine dress blues. 28 years in investigation, Mrs. Thompson. 15 with LAPD, the rest private. I've seen everything. He leaned back, studying me. But it never gets easier when it's your own marriage. I placed the red thong on his desk like evidence in a murder trial. My voice cracked as I explained everything: the late nights, the new habits, the hotel sighting, the lingerie. I need to know, I whispered. Not for divorce proceedings, not yet. I need to know if I'm going crazy or if my whole life is a lie. Tom picked up the lingerie with a pen, examining the tag. La Perla, size small. That's about $400 retail. Your husband makes good money, but this is an intentional purchase. Not a random affair. The word affair hit like a slap. I must have flinched because Tom's expression softened. Mrs. Thompson, I charge $3,000 for a basic surveillance package. 2 weeks, photos, documentation, GPS tracking if needed. But I need to ask, are you prepared for what I might find? No, I admitted, tears finally breaking through, but not knowing is killing me faster. He handed me tissues, waited while I composed myself. There's something else we can do immediately. AirTags. Apple's tracking devices. Completely legal if you're putting them on property you jointly own. My stomach churned. That feels so violating. More violating than what he might be doing? The truth of it burned. What do I need to do? Tom pulled out his phone, showing me the Apple Store app. Buy a 4-pack. Put one in his car, under the seat, magnetic mount. One in his work bag, maybe his gym bag if he has one. Download the Find My app, and you'll know every movement. Like I'm stalking my own husband. Like you're protecting yourself from a man who might be exposing you to STDs, financial fraud, or worse. His bluntness was oddly comforting. No sugarcoating, no pitying looks, just facts. I left his office with a retainer agreement and a stop at the Beverly Hills Apple Store. The cheerful employee who helped me, Brad, with his genuine smile and enthusiasm about the amazing technology, had no idea he was enabling marital espionage. That evening, while Robert showered, I slipped an AirTag under the driver's seat of his Porsche, my heart pounding so hard I was certain Rosa could hear it from the kitchen. Another went into his Bottega Veneta briefcase, hidden in an interior pocket he never used, the third into his Louis Vuitton gym bag. "What are you doing?" Michael's voice made me jump. He stood in the garage doorway, looking puzzled. Looking for my reading glasses, I lied smoothly. Thought I might have dropped them when I got out of Dad's car earlier. He helped me look, and I pretended to find them in my pocket. Silly me, they were here all along. "Mom, are you okay? You seem really stressed lately." I hugged him tightly, perhaps too tightly. "Just work pressure, sweetheart." Ashley appeared behind him, radiant in athletic wear that probably cost more than most people's rent. "Michael, we should go. The reservation's in 20 minutes. She smiled at me, that brilliant influencer smile. "Sure you don't want to join us, Mom? Nobu always cheers people up." Mom. The word felt like acid on my skin. "No thank you, dear. You two enjoy." I watched them leave in Michael's BMW, Ashley's hand on his shoulder, and wondered if I was about to destroy my son's marriage along with my own. Friday came with Tom's first report. Robert had indeed gone to Malibu, the Moonlight Boutique Hotel, a luxury beachfront property that charged $800 a night. He'd stayed from noon to 3 p.m. He paid cash, Tom informed me over the phone, but I got photos of him entering and leaving, alone both times. Someone was already inside. Can you find out who? Working on it. The hotel's discreet, but everyone has a price. Give me a few more days. The weekend was torture. Robert suggested we visit the farmer's market Saturday morning, our old tradition. We walked through the stalls, his arm around my waist, playing the perfect couple while my phone tracked his every movement via the AirTags. An elderly couple selling honey commented on what a beautiful pair we made. 26 years, Robert told them proudly, still in love like teenagers. The woman beamed. That's rare these days. You're blessed. Blessed. I wanted to laugh, or scream. Instead, I smiled and bought 3 jars of honey I'd never eat. Sunday brought our regular family dinner. Michael and Ashley came over, Ashley helping me in the kitchen while the men watched football. She chatted about her latest brand partnership, a wellness company offering her $200,000 for 6 posts. It's insane, right? She laughed, chopping vegetables with practiced ease. They pay me more for 1 photo than most people make in a year. That's wonderful, dear, I managed, watching her delicate hands, size small hands, work the knife. During dinner, I studied them all. Robert, charming and witty, refilling wine glasses and telling stories from the hospital. Michael, my precious boy, gazing at Ashley with such adoration it broke my heart. And Ashley, beautiful Ashley, who laughed at Robert's jokes a beat too long, whose eyes lingered on him when she thought no one was watching. Or was I imagining it? Was paranoia eating me alive? My phone buzzed. Tom, check your email. I excused myself to the bathroom, hands shaking as I opened his message. 3 photos. Robert entering the hotel room. A room service cart for 2 being wheeled in. And then, the killer. A partial shot through a cracked curtain. 2 silhouettes embracing, 1 tall and silver-haired, 1 smaller, feminine, with long blonde hair. I made it to the toilet just in time, dry heaving while my family laughed in the dining room. Rosa knocked softly. Señora? You need help? Just a moment, Rosa. I splashed cold water on my face, reapplied lipstick with trembling hands, and returned to dinner. Robert was mid-story about a patient who'd wanted to look like a Kardashian. Can you imagine? He laughed. Spending $50,000 to look like someone else? Some people live entirely fake lives, I said, my voice steady as steel. They pretend so long they forget who they really are. The table went quiet. Ashley's fork paused midway to her mouth. That's rather philosophical, honey, Robert said carefully. Is it? I sipped my wine, meeting his eyes. I think it's just the truth. Michael looked between us, concerned. Everything okay? Perfect, I lied, smiling at my son. Everything's absolutely perfect. But under the table, my phone showed Robert's AirTag location from Friday. Moonlight Boutique Hotel, Malibu. Room 247. 3 hours that would end everything. Tom had texted again. Meeting tomorrow, 10 a.m. Bring tissues. I already knew what he'd found. The only question now was whether the woman destroying my marriage was someone I'd have to face at grocery stores and PTA meetings, or someone I'd invited into my home, called daughter, and loved like my own. Looking at Ashley's perfectly manicured nails as she reached for her wine, size small hands, elegant and entitled, I thought I knew the answer. God help me, I thought I knew. Monday morning, October 14th. The date is burned into my memory like a brand. I sat in my Tesla outside Tom Rodriguez's office building for 20 minutes, unable to move. My hands gripped the steering wheel while Adele played softly on the radio, Someone Like You. I turned it off. Love songs felt like mockery now. Tom's office seemed smaller this time, the walls closing in as he pulled out a manila folder thick with photographs and documents. His face held the careful neutrality of someone about to deliver terminal diagnosis. Mrs. Thompson, I need to prepare you. What I'm about to show you is difficult. Just show me, I whispered, though my entire body screamed to run. He placed the first photo on the desk. Robert entering room 247 at the Moonlight Boutique Hotel, checking his Rolex, looking around nervously. The timestamp read 12:47 p.m. last Friday. The second photo, a woman entering the same room 40 minutes earlier. Blonde hair in a messy bun, oversized Chanel sunglasses, carrying a Saint Laurent tote bag I recognized. My stomach clenched. Tom, that bag. My voice cracked. I know. Keep looking. The third photo destroyed me. Through the hotel window, curtains carelessly left partially open, Robert and the woman, embracing. Her sunglasses were off. Her face was turned toward the camera, eyes closed in what looked like ecstasy. Ashley, my daughter-in-law, my son's wife, the woman who called me Mom. The room exploded into fragments. Tom's voice became distant thunder as my vision tunneled. I heard someone screaming, raw, animal sounds of agony, before realizing they came from me. My body convulsed, doubling over as if I'd been shot. The beautiful breakfast Michael had insisted I eat before leaving came up violently into Tom's wastebasket. Mrs. Thompson! Margaret! Tom was beside me, pressing a cold water bottle to my neck, his strong hands keeping me from collapsing completely. No, I kept repeating, as if denial could change the photographic evidence. Not Ashley, not my baby's wife, not in my own family. Tom helped me to his worn leather couch, covering me with a blanket that smelled of cigarette smoke and Old Spice. My entire body shook uncontrollably, teeth chattering like I'd been thrown into ice water. There's more, he said gently, after I'd stopped dry heaving. I'm sorry, but you need to know everything. More photos. Ashley and Robert at a Starbucks in Brentwood, her hand on his thigh under the table, security footage from a Nordstrom parking garage, them kissing against his Porsche. Credit card records Tom had somehow obtained, showing Robert's purchases at Agent Provocateur, Cartier, and the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. $73,000 in 3 months. How long, I managed to ask. Based on the evidence, at least 4 months, possibly longer. 4 months. Ashley had helped me plan Robert's birthday party 4 months ago. She'd hugged me at Michael's promotion celebration, telling me I was the mother she'd always dreamed of having. She'd sat beside me at my book club, discussing little fires everywhere while apparently setting my own life ablaze. I had a contact run her credit cards too, Tom continued, his voice professionally gentle. She's been buying lingerie that matches items charged to your husband's cards. Same stores, same days, coordinating purchases. The red thong, size small. Ashley parading around in underwear my husband bought her, then coming to my home, eating at my table, calling me Mom. I stumbled to the bathroom, vomiting until my ribs ached, until nothing remained but acid and anguish. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize the woman staring back, gray-faced, hollow-eyed, aged 20 years and 20 minutes. Tom knocked gently. Mrs. Thompson? Should I call someone? Judge Walsh? No, I gasped, splashing cold water on my face. No one can know. Not yet. My son. Oh God. Michael. Fresh waves of agony crashed over me. How would I tell my precious boy? How could I destroy his world? He loved Ashley with such pure devotion. Just last week, he'd shown me the Tiffany earrings he'd bought her for their anniversary, $15,000 he'd saved for months to afford. Back in Tom's office, he handed me more tissues and a cup of bitter coffee that tasted like liquid despair. There's something else, he said carefully. The hotel staff member I paid for information? She says they've been meeting there every Tuesday and Friday for months. They have a standing reservation under the name A. Parker. Parker, Ashley's maiden name. The audacity of it. She didn't even try to hide it well. The same staff member also mentioned. Tom paused, clearly uncomfortable. They're not subtle. Other guests have complained about noise from their room. The hotels had to comp several stays because of disruptions. I wanted to die, to simply cease existing rather than face this reality. My husband and daughter-in-law, so consumed with passion they didn't care who heard them. The same bed where Robert had probably whispered the promises he'd once made to me. What do I do? I asked Tom, though I knew he had no answers for this level of betrayal. Document everything. See a lawyer immediately. Get tested for STDs. His clinical approach helped somehow, giving me concrete steps when my world was abstract agony. And Mrs. Thompson? Don't confront them yet. You need to protect yourself legally and financially first. I wrote him a check with shaking hands, took the folder of evidence that weighed more than my entire life, and somehow made it to my car. The parking garage spun around me. A woman walking past with her daughter, maybe 7 years old, Michael's age when he'd made me Mother's Day breakfast in bed for the first time, triggered fresh sobs. I called in sick to work, the first time in 5 years. My assistant, Patricia, sounded worried. "Margaret, you never miss the Monday meeting. Should I send the quarterly reports to your home?" "No," I managed. "I just need a day." Instead of going home, I drove aimlessly through Los Angeles, past places that held memories now poisoned. The Four Seasons, where Robert and I had celebrated our 20th anniversary. The Pottery Barn, where Ashley had helped me pick out new cushions last month, gushing about how she wanted to create beautiful memories in this family. UCLA Medical Center, where Robert had proposed during his residency, promising to love only me forever. My phone rang constantly. Robert, checking if I was feeling better. Michael, worried because I'd missed his calls. Ashley, her contact photo. Us laughing at a wine tasting in Napa, flashing repeatedly. I finally pulled over at Griffith Observatory, parking in the spot where Robert and I had come as broke medical students, dreaming about our future. The city spread below, all those millions of lives continuing while mine had stopped. A text from Ashley. "Mom, Michael says you're sick? I'm bringing my special immunity soup, the one with ginger and turmeric you loved. Be there in an hour." The emoji made me vomit again, right there in the parking lot, bile and horror and the death of every illusion I'd held about my life. A concerned jogger stopped. "Ma'am, should I call 911? I laughed. Bitter, broken sounds. Can they fix a broken heart? Can they resurrect a dead marriage? He backed away, probably thinking I was insane. Maybe I was. Maybe this was what insanity felt like, knowing that in an hour the woman sleeping with my husband would be in my kitchen, feeding me soup, calling me mom, while my son watched adoringly. The folder of photos sat on my passenger seat like a ticking bomb, proof that the last 26 years had been leading to this moment. Proof that the two people I'd trusted most had conspired to destroy everything sacred. Proof that some betrayals were too profound for forgiveness. I started the car, driving home to face my demented new reality, smiling at my husband's mistress, who happened to be my son's wife, while she played devoted daughter-in-law in the home I'd built with love, now desecrated by their affair. The golden California sun set over the Pacific, indifferent to my agony. Somewhere in Malibu, room 247, waited for Tuesday's rendezvous. But they didn't know that I knew, and that for now was my only power in this nightmare that used to be my life. I sat in my driveway for 10 minutes, staring at my front door like it was the entrance to hell. Through the living room windows, I could see Rosa arranging fresh flowers, white roses and baby's breath that Ashley had probably suggested because she knew they were my favorites. The same Ashley who was sleeping with my husband. The same Ashley whose lipstick had likely stained his collar. The same Ashley who was about to walk into my home with immunity soup and call me mom. My phone buzzed. A text from Robert. "Honey, Ashley's coming over to check on you. Michael's worried. I'll be home early tonight. Love you. Love you." The words made me physically gag. I dry heaved in my Tesla until my ribs screamed, grateful for the tinted windows that hid my breakdown from the neighbors. Mrs. Patterson walked by with her poodle, waving cheerfully. I managed to wave back, a puppet on strings, performing normalcy while dying inside. The front door felt impossibly heavy as I pushed it open. Rosa rushed over immediately, concern etched on her weathered face. "Señora Margaret, you look terrible. So pale, like you've seen a ghost." If only she knew I'd seen something far worse. My entire life revealed as a performance, a 26-year show where I was the only one who didn't know it was fiction. "Just the flu, Rosa," I lied, my voice hoarse from vomiting. "I'm going to lie down." But there was no peace even in my bedroom. Our bedroom. The California king bed where Robert had held me last night, probably thinking of Ashley. The wedding photos on the dresser mocked me. Young Margaret, radiant in white lace, believing in forever. What a fool. The Egyptian cotton sheets. Had he been imagining her when we'd last made love 2 weeks ago? Had he compared my 48-year-old body to her 29-year-old perfection? I heard Ashley's Bentley pull up, the car Michael had leased for her birthday, $60,000 a year so his precious wife could travel in style. The front door chimed, and her voice floated up like poison wrapped in honey. "Rosa, I brought soup for Mom. Is she upstairs?" "Mom." The word hit like a sledgehammer every time. "See, Miss Ashley, but she's very sick. Maybe you shouldn't." "Nonsense. She needs family right now. Family. The woman destroying my family. Playing concerned daughter. I heard her heels on the marble stairs. Louboutin that clicked like countdown to torture. A knock on my door. Soft and caring. Mom? It's Ashley. Can I come in? I wanted to scream, to grab Robert's golf club and smash everything in sight. Instead, I pulled the comforter up to my chin, hiding my shaking hands. Come in, I croaked. She entered like sunshine, blonde hair in perfect waves, wearing a cream-colored Zimmermann dress that probably cost $4,000. In her manicured hands, a pot of soup that smelled like ginger and betrayal. Oh, Mom, you look awful. She sat on my bed, where her affair partner slept every night, and pressed a cool hand to my forehead. The same hand that had touched my husband in places that were supposed to be mine alone. You're burning up, she said with perfectly feigned concern. Here, I made this recipe from my grandmother. Well, my Instagram grandmother, this wellness guru from Malibu who has 3 million followers. Malibu. Where room 247 waited for tomorrow's adultery session. I turned my head, afraid I'd foam it on her designer dress. Michael's so worried, she continued, setting up a tray with the efficiency of someone who'd staged 1,000 Instagram photos. He wanted to come too, but I told him he'd just hover and make you anxious. You know how he is, such a mama's boy. She laughed, that tinkling sound that had charmed my son, my friends, everyone, even me, until 4 hours ago when Tom Rodriguez showed me who she really was. Ashley, I managed, my voice barely a whisper. Why? She paused, spoon halfway to my lips. Why what, Mom? Why are you so good to me? The question held layers she couldn't know. Why pretend to care? Why call me Mom while sleeping with my husband? Why destroy everything while smiling? Her blue eyes, the same shade as Robert's, I realized with fresh nausea, widened with what looked like genuine emotion. Because you're everything I wish my mother had been. Successful, elegant, loving. You and Robert have the perfect marriage, the perfect life. I tell Michael all the time how lucky he is. The perfect marriage. I wanted to laugh, or scream, or show her the photos in my purse of her perfect father-in-law's hands all over her perfect body. Sometimes, she continued, spooning soup toward me like I was a child, I'm actually jealous of what you and Robert have. 26 years and still so in love, the way he looks at you. How did he look at me? Like he looked at her in those photos? With hunger I hadn't seen directed my way in years? I need the bathroom, I gasped, stumbling out of bed. Oh, let me help. No, the word came out sharper than intended. Please, just privacy. In the bathroom, I locked the door and collapsed against it, sliding to the cold marble floor. My phone buzzed with a text from Tom Rodriguez. Forgot to mention, credit card shows they had lunch at Mastro's Ocean Club today. $400 charge, champagne. Mastro's. Where Robert had proposed. Where we'd celebrated every anniversary until recently. Now their place, contaminated like everything else. Another text, this one from Michael. Mom, Ashley says, you're really sick. Should I come home? Love you so much. My precious boy. My sweet, trusting son who had no idea his wife was a monster in designer clothing. How could I tell him? How could I destroy his world the way mine had been obliterated? Through the door, I heard Ashley on the phone, her voice carrying despite her attempt to be quiet. No, Tuesday at 1 is perfect. Yes, the usual place. Can't wait. Tuesday. Tomorrow. The standing reservation at the Moonlight Boutique Hotel. She was confirming her adultery appointment while sitting on my bed, feet away from where I was dying inside. I dragged myself up, splashed cold water on my face, and returned to the bedroom. Ashley smiled brilliantly, holding out the soup bowl. Feel better? You look a little less green. Ashley, I said carefully, watching her face. Do you ever have regrets? She tilted her head, considering. About what? Choices. Things you've done that you can't take back. Something flickered in her eyes. Guilt? Fear? Or was I imagining it? I think, she said slowly, that everything happens for a reason. Even things that seem wrong at the time. Sometimes you just follow your heart, you know? Follow your heart. Into my husband's bed. Into the destruction of 2 marriages and a family. The heart can be treacherous, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. She laughed, uncomfortable now. Wow, Mom, you're getting philosophical. Must be the fever. We sat in horrible silence while she fed me soup. I couldn't taste, each spoonful an act of torture. My husband's mistress, playing nurse. My son's wife, pretending to be my daughter. The woman who'd stolen everything, smiling like she cared. I should go, she finally said, gathering the tray. Michael will be home soon, wondering where I am, but I'll check on you tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow. When she'd be in Malibu, in room 247, in my husband's arms. No, I said quickly. I mean, I don't want you to catch this. She leaned down and kissed my forehead. Judas in Chanel, and I had to grip the sheets to keep from striking her. Love you, Mom, she whispered. After she left, I crawled to the bathroom and vomited until I thought my soul would come up too. Rosa found me there an hour later, helped me back to bed, muttering prayers in Spanish. But there was no God listening. No justice in this universe where Ashley drove away in her Bentley to my son, while I lay shattered in sheets that smelled like my husband's betrayal. The double pain was unbearable. Losing Robert to anyone would have been agony. But losing him to her, to the woman my son adored, to the girl who called me Mom while stabbing me in the back, that wasn't just betrayal. That was evil wrapped in a designer dress and a perfect smile. Tuesday morning arrived with mockingly perfect California sunshine, 72 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, the kind of day tourists paid thousands to experience. I'd been awake since 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, knowing that in 10 hours, Robert and Ashley would be in room 247, defiling everything sacred about marriage, family, trust. Jennifer had insisted on meeting me at her house in Bel Air before my appointment with the divorce attorney she'd recommended. Her home, a $9 million Spanish colonial, felt like a sanctuary after the contamination of my own. Margaret, honey, you look like death, she said bluntly, handing me coffee in bone china that had belonged to her grandmother. When did you last eat actual food? Sunday dinner, I admitted. Everything since then has come back up. She studied me with those sharp judicial eyes. You need to be strong for what's coming. This isn't just a divorce, it's war. Sarah Williams doesn't take cases unless she knows she can destroy the opposition. Sarah Williams. The name was legendary in Los Angeles legal circles. She'd handled the Petersons' divorce. $80 million, 3 mistresses, and a secret family in Vancouver. She'd gotten Patricia Peterson everything, including the husband's vintage car collection he'd loved more than his children. How bad is Sarah? I asked. She made opposing counsel cry. Twice. In court. Jennifer squeezed my hand. She's exactly what you need. An hour later, I sat in Sarah Williams's office on the 40th floor of a downtown high-rise. The view stretched from the Pacific to the San Bernardino Mountains, but all I could focus on was the woman across from me, mid-50s, silver hair and a perfect chignon, wearing a black Chanel suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. Mrs. Thompson, she began, her voice like polished steel. Jennifer briefed me on the basics. Your husband is having an affair with your daughter-in-law. Hearing it stated so clinically made it real in a different way, not emotional devastation, but cold, hard fact. Yes, I managed. Tell me everything. Every detail, every asset, every weakness we can exploit. For the next 2 hours, I laid out my life like evidence. Our $8 million house, in both names, but I'd put down the $3 million inheritance from my father. Robert's medical practice, worth approximately $15 million. Our investment portfolio, $12 million, mostly from my tech stock options. The vacation home in Aspen. The boat in Marina del Rey. 2 retirement accounts, 3 college funds we'd never needed, and a wine collection Robert valued at $200,000. Children? Sarah asked. Our son Michael. He's married to her. To Ashley. Making this infinitely more complex. She made notes in elegant script. What about the mistress? What are her assets? She's an influencer. 2 million followers. Brand deals worth probably $1 million a year. She drives a Bentley my son leases for her, lives in a condo in Westwood that Michael bought. Gifts from your son, not community property. Interesting. Sarah's smile was sharp as a blade. Now? Evidence? I handed her Tom Rodriguez's folder. She examined each photo with the detachment of a surgeon, occasionally making notes. Excellent work. Tom Rodriguez is the best. His evidence holds up in court. These photos, the credit card records, the hotel documentation, it's ironclad proof of adultery. What about Michael? My voice broke. How do I protect my son? That depends on what you want. Revenge or resolution? I want Robert to lose everything, I said, surprising myself with the venom in my voice. I want him to understand what it feels like to have your life ripped away. But Michael, he can't be collateral damage. Sarah leaned back, studying me. There's something else you should know. California is a no-fault divorce state, which means adultery doesn't affect asset division. However, she smiled coldly, there are other ways to ensure justice. Such as, your husband is a licensed physician. Affairs with family members, while not illegal, could be considered moral turpitude. The medical board might be very interested. His hospital definitely would be. Imagine the publicity. Prominent Beverly Hills surgeon in sordid affair with daughter-in-law. You've made it this far, go ahead and hit. Like to let me know, you're still with me. You know, every share you make might help someone out there find a little hope. And before we continue, don't forget to subscribe because who knows, the next story might just touch your heart. The thought of Robert's precious reputation destroyed sent a dark thrill through me. Additionally, Sarah continued, you mentioned finding $73,000 in gifts to her. If that came from community property without your consent, that's financial fraud. We can demand immediate reimbursement. What about Ashley? Alienation of affection lawsuits are rare but not impossible. More importantly, her brand deals likely have morality clauses. No company wants to be associated with someone who sleeps with her father-in-law. One leaked photo to TMZ, and her influencer career is over. TMZ. The photos going viral, Michael seeing them on every gossip site. I shuddered. I need time to think about that part. Of course. But Margaret, you need to protect yourself immediately. Here's what you do today. She pulled out a legal pad, writing quickly. First, open new bank accounts in your name only. Transfer exactly half of all liquid assets. Do it today before he knows you know. Second, change your will and insurance beneficiaries. Third, secure all important documents. Passports, birth certificates, financial records. Fourth, document everything. Every interaction, every penny spent, every lie told. Should I confront him? Absolutely not. Let them think they're safe. Meanwhile, we prepare. I'll file a financial restraining order preventing him from hiding assets. You'll need a forensic accountant. I recommend James Chen. He found 3 offshore accounts in my last case. Offshore accounts? My stomach turned. Robert wouldn't radian many and Sprout. Every spouse thinks that. James will find out. She stood, our meeting ending. Margaret, I know this feels like death, but you're going to survive this. And when I'm done, Robert will wish he'd never met Ashley Parker. I left her office with a strange mix of empowerment and terror. In the elevator, my phone showed Ashley's location via Find My iPhone. Michael had insisted we all share locations for safety. She was at the Beverly Hills Hotel, probably having her pre-adultery spa treatment. I drove to Wells Fargo, then Bank of America, opening accounts and transferring $3 million from our joint accounts. The tellers smiled, processed the transfers, had no idea they were witnessing the first strikes in a war. At home, Rosa was cleaning the kitchen, humming softly. Sweet Rosa, who'd worked for us 15 years, who'd helped raise our children. Rosa, I said carefully, if things changed here, if situations changed, would you want to keep working for me? She stopped cleaning, turned to face me with knowing eyes. Senora Margaret, I work for you, always for you. Mr. Robert, he pays the checks. But you're the heart of this house. I hugged her then, crying into her shoulder while she murmured comfort in Spanish. My phone buzzed. Robert, in surgery until late. Don't wait up. Love you. Surgery, the new code word for room 247, apparently. I checked the AirTag. His Porsche was heading toward Malibu, right on schedule for the 1 o'clock reservation. Another text from Michael. Mom, feeling better? Ashley said you looked terrible yesterday. Want to have lunch tomorrow? My precious boy, so concerned, so oblivious to the bomb about to explode in his life. Sarah Williams had given me homework, lists of assets, timeline of suspicious behavior, names of potential witnesses. I sat at my desk, the same desk where I'd helped Michael with homework, where I'd written thank you notes for wedding gifts, where I'd planned our life. Now I was planning its destruction. The grandfather clock Robert's parents had given us for our 10th anniversary chimed twice, 2 p.m. They were probably in bed now, in room 247, doing things that would destroy our son when he found out. But I wasn't crying anymore. The tears had transformed into something harder, sharper. Sarah Williams was right. This was war. And I'd been a successful executive for 20 years. I knew how to strategize, how to win, how to destroy competition. Robert and Ashley thought they were so clever, meeting in secret, playing their sick game while I played the fool. They had no idea that the fool had hired the best divorce attorney in California, that their every movement was being tracked, that their perfect secret was about to become their perfect destruction. The sunshine streaming through my window felt different now, not mocking but illuminating, showing me the truth I'd been blind to, lighting the path toward justice. Or revenge. At this point, I wasn't sure there was a difference. Wednesday afternoon, I sat in the parking lot of the Four Seasons contemplating whether I'd completely lost my mind. The text had come that morning from an unknown number. Mrs. Thompson, we need to discuss our mutual problem. James Parker. Ashley's father, the billionaire real estate developer who owned half of downtown Los Angeles and had connections reaching into every corridor of power in California. The man whose daughter was destroying my marriage. I'd Googled him obsessively for 2 hours. James Parker, 64, self-made billionaire, featured on Forbes lists and architectural magazines. Divorced 3 times, each wife younger than the last. Known for his ruthlessness in business and his strange absence from Ashley's Instagram perfect life. The restaurant was nearly empty at 3 p.m. He'd chosen the timing deliberately. I spotted him immediately in a corner booth, privacy assured by his reputation, and presumably a generous tip to the maitre d'. He looked like an older, masculine version of Ashley, same piercing blue eyes, same sharp cheekbones, but where she was all soft manipulation, he radiated cold power. Mrs. Thompson. He stood, surprisingly courteous. Thank you for coming. I sat carefully, studying him. How did you know? About my daughter and your husband? His laugh was bitter. Because Ashley follows patterns. She's done this before. Twice. The world tilted. What? He signaled the waiter, ordered a bottle of wine that probably cost more than most people's mortgage payments. Did you think this was her first time destroying a family? My daughter is troubled. Has been since her mother died when she was 14. She told Michael her mother abandoned the family. Of course she did. The truth is less sympathetic. He poured wine with steady hands. Her mother committed suicide after discovering Ashley was sleeping with her second husband, my first wife's third marriage. Ashley was 19. I nearly dropped my glass. She slept with her stepfather? Stepfather, her best friend's father, her college professor's husband. His jaw tightened. I've spent over $2 million in therapy, rehab, treatments. Nothing works. She gets a thrill from taking what belongs to other women. The more sacred the relationship, the more she wants to destroy it. My mind reeled. This wasn't just an affair, this was pathology. Why are you telling me this? Because I've been watching the patterns. The sudden interest in family dinners, the excessive affection toward you, the gifts, the mom references. She always builds up the maternal relationship before she destroys it. It's her signature. Nausea rolled through me. Every sweet moment, every hug, every I love you, Mom had been part of a sick game. 2 months ago, James continued, I had her followed. I've been down this road before, paid off 2 families to keep quiet, to protect her and my reputation. But when I saw the photos of her with Robert, he pulled out his phone, showing me images Tom Rodriguez hadn't captured. Ashley and Robert at a jewelry store, him clasping a diamond bracelet on her wrist. Another of them at a Mercedes dealership, her kissing him beside a new G-Wagon. He's buying her a car? I gasped. Bought. Last week. It's in a storage unit in Ventura, waiting for the right moment to appear. Probably after your divorce when she'll claim she bought it with her influencer money. $100,000 car, hidden away. The premeditation made it worse somehow. Mr. Parker. James. We're in this hell together. James, why not just cut her off? Stop enabling her? His eyes went dark. I tried. After the second family she destroyed, I cut off her trust fund. She posted a video claiming I was an abusive father, that I'd beaten her mother, driven her to suicide. Complete lies, but it went viral. 3 million views in 2 days. I lost a $50 million development deal because investors didn't want the controversy. So you bought her silence. I bought my reputation back. But I'm done. This time she's gone too far. Your son seems like a good man. He doesn't deserve this. You've researched Michael? I research everyone my daughter interacts with. Michael Thompson, USC graduate, works at Preston and Associates, clean record, genuinely loves my daughter despite her nature. He's the first actually good person she's married. How do we stop them? The we came naturally, two parents united in horror. James pulled out a folder. I have a proposition. We work together. Your evidence plus mine creates an undeniable case. But more importantly, I have leverage. What kind of leverage? Ashley isn't just an influencer. She's been running a side business, selling access to celebrity events, promising connections she doesn't have, taking money from desperate wannabes. It's fraud. I have proof of over 40 transactions, nearly $800,000. You'd expose your own daughter? To save your son from a lifetime of pain? Yes. His voice was granite, but I propose something more surgical. We give Ashley a choice. Leave quietly, divorce Michael with a story about growing apart, and disappear from your family's life forever. Or we expose everything. And Robert? Your husband is collateral damage. He made his choices. I thought about Michael, about protecting him from the worst of this revelation. What makes you think she'll agree? Because I control her trust fund. $20 million she gets when she turns 30 next year. If she doesn't cooperate, she gets nothing. Ever. And I'll make sure every brand she works with sees the fraud evidence. You've thought this through. For 2 months, ever since I confirmed she was targeting your husband. He leaned forward. Mrs. Thompson, Margaret, I can't undo what my daughter has become, but I can minimize the damage. Together, we can save your son from the worst of this. My phone buzzed. Michael, family dinner Sunday? Ashley wants to cook. Ashley cooking in my kitchen, serving my family, playing house while sleeping with my husband. The rage that surged through me was volcanic. I have a condition, I said. Ashley doesn't get to leave looking like a victim. Michael needs to know she betrayed him, even if not the full extent. Agreed. I also have surveillance footage from my security team. Professional-grade evidence that will hold up in any court. You've been having your own daughter surveilled? Since she turned 21. It saved me 3 lawsuits and 1 criminal charge. He smiled grimly. I love my daughter, Margaret, but I'm not blind to what she is. We spent the next hour strategizing like generals planning a siege. James had resources I couldn't imagine, private investigators, forensic accountants, connections throughout Los Angeles. He'd already traced 3 accounts Robert had hidden, found the storage unit with the Mercedes, documented their hotel meetings going back 5 months. There's something else, James said as we prepared to leave. The Malibu Hotel? I own it through a shell company. Every room has security cameras in the hallway. We have them entering and leaving room 247 together, 17 times. You own the hotel where they're having their affair? I own many things in this city. It's proven useful. He handed me a card. Just his private number, no name. We move Friday. I'll have my lawyer contact Sarah Williams, coordinate our approach. Why Friday? Because that's when Ashley plans to tell Michael she wants a separation. She's going to claim you and Robert made her uncomfortable, that the family is too close, too suffocating. She'll position herself as the victim needing space, setting up for the reveal of the affair later when she can claim it happened after she left Michael. The calculation of it, the cruel precision, took my breath away. How do you know? I read her emails, have since she was 16. At my shocked expression, he shrugged. I told you, I've been managing her destruction for 15 years. I stopped expecting privacy the 3rd time the police called. I stood to leave, then paused. James, do you think she's capable of love? Real love? He considered this, pain flickering across his composed features. Her mother asked me the same thing once, about me. He met my eyes. Broken people break people, Margaret. Ashley learned from the best. Driving home, I felt something I hadn't experienced since seeing those photos. A hope. Not for my marriage, that was dead, but for Michael. For the possibility that he could emerge from this nightmare without being completely destroyed. My phone showed Robert's location at the hospital. Actually there this time. Ashley was at a photo shoot in Manhattan Beach, both living their lives, unaware that their victims had joined forces. James Parker and I were unlikely allies, bound by our children and the wreckage Ashley had created. But together, we had power neither possessed alone. The hunter was about to become the hunted. Thursday morning brought rain to Los Angeles, a rarity that felt appropriate for the storm about to break over my life. I sat in James Chen's office in Century City, watching water streak down the floor-to-ceiling windows while the forensic accountant Sarah Williams had recommended laid-out financial documents like evidence of a crime, which, as it turned out, they were. "Mrs. Thompson," James Chen said, adjusting his rimless glasses, "what I've found is significant. Your husband has been very creative with his finances." Creative. Such a polite word for fraud. "Show me everything." He pulled up a screen on his laptop, turning it toward me. 3 offshore accounts, one in the Cayman Islands, established 8 years ago, one in Switzerland, from 5 years ago, and one in Singapore, opened just 6 months ago. The numbers blurred before my eyes. How much? Combined? Approximately $3.7 million. I gripped the armrest of my chair. $3.7 million. Hidden away while I'd paid for Michael's college, while I'd covered our mortgage during Robert's slow period at the practice, while I'd been transparent about every penny I earned. How did he hide this? Phantom patients, mostly. Cash payments for procedures that were never fully reported. Some insurance fraud, billing for procedures more complex than what was performed. And, he paused, clearly uncomfortable, illegal procedures. Botox parties, underground cosmetic work for people who couldn't go through proper channels. Illegal? Robert risked his license for money? Based on these deposits, regularly, sometimes $50,000 a month in unreported cash income. My husband, the respected surgeon, the man who'd lectured Michael about integrity, a criminal. My phone buzzed with a text from Tom Rodriguez. Need to meet. Urgent. Discovered something about the blackmail. Blackmail. The word James Chen had just used sent ice through my veins. "Mr. Chen, did you say something about blackmail?" He pulled up another screen. This is where it gets complicated. Starting 4 months ago, there have been regular withdrawals from the Swiss account. 25,000, exactly, on the 15th of each month, always to the same cryptocurrency wallet. 4 months ago, when the affair started. Ashley, I breathed. I can't confirm the recipient, but the timing is suggestive. And there's this. He showed me an email from Robert's private account I hadn't known existed. "Your husband sent this to someone called AP 2 months ago." I read it, my hands trembling. "This has to stop. I've paid what you asked. Please, I'm begging you. My family doesn't deserve this. Margaret is a good woman." The response, sent from a burner email. "Your family? That's rich, considering where your hands were last night. 25,000. Or Margaret gets the photos, and the IRS gets the records." Ashley wasn't just having an affair with my husband, she was blackmailing him. I met Tom Rodriguez at a coffee shop in Brentwood, one of those places where screenwriters typed novels and nobody looked up from their laptops. He looked grim, sliding a tablet across to me. "I've been investigating Ashley Parker for Mr. Parker. He hired me separately from you. What I found." He shook his head. "This woman is dangerous, Mrs. Thompson." The screen showed a death certificate. Brandon Mitchell, 28, died by suicide 2 years ago in San Francisco. Who was he? Ashley's first husband. The one she told your son died in a car accident. Another lie, of course. He killed himself 3 months after discovering Ashley was sleeping with his father. Left a note describing the emotional torture she'd put him through, how she'd convinced him he was crazy when he suspected, then taunted him with details once he found proof. I covered my mouth, fighting nausea. She drove him to suicide? The father, Gregory Mitchell, filed a wrongful death suit. It was settled out of court for an undisclosed sum, James Parker's doing, we discovered. But there's more. He pulled up another document. Ashley Parker isn't even her real name. She was born Ashley Marie Hendricks. She changed it legally after Brandon's death. To hide from her past. To hunt new prey. Mrs. Thompson, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've seen affairs, cons, even crimes of passion. But this is predatory behavior. She targets families, destroys them from within, and profits from the destruction. The blackmail, I said, she's extorting Robert. For at least $100,000 so far, based on what we've traced. But that's not the worst part. He pulled up a video on his phone. This was taken yesterday at a clinic in Koreatown. The grainy footage showed Ashley entering a building, staying for an hour, leaving with a medical bag. So, maybe she was sick. That's Dr. Kim's clinic. He lost his license 3 years ago for performing illegal procedures. He's known for 2 things: cash-only abortions and pregnancy tests that can't be traced. The coffee shop spun around me. She's pregnant? We can't confirm, but the timing. Mrs. Thompson, if she's pregnant with your husband's child, Michael, my sweet Michael, who'd been trying for a baby with Ashley for a year, who'd mentioned just last week how Ashley had been feeling off lately. If she was pregnant with Robert's child and passed it off as Michael's, I ran to the bathroom, barely making it before losing my breakfast. A woman knocked, asking if I needed help. I wanted to laugh. Help? What help could anyone offer for this level of evil? Tom was waiting when I returned, his expression sympathetic. There's one more thing. Of course there was. In this nightmare there was always one more thing. The Mercedes G-Wagon your husband bought? The one in the storage unit? The paperwork shows Ashley as the owner, but the down payment came from a very interesting source. The Swiss account? No. From a trust fund in Michael's name. One your husband controlled as trustee. He essentially stole $40,000 from your son to buy a car for the woman who's sleeping with them both. The rage that filled me was pure, clean, purposeful, not the messy agony of betrayal, but something sharper, darker. Tom, I need everything, every document, every photo, every piece of evidence, and I need it by tomorrow. Planning something? James Parker and I are coordinating a response, but I need an insurance policy. If Ashley thinks she can blackmail Robert, she needs to understand that 2 can play that game. He studied me carefully. Mrs. Thompson, be careful. Desperate people do desperate things. I'm counting on it. Driving home, I called James Parker. We need to move the timeline up. What's happened? Your daughter might be pregnant. And she's been blackmailing Robert for $100,000. Silence. Then, that manipulative little. When? Tomorrow night. Family dinner. We confront them separately. You take Ashley, I'll handle Robert. Can your lawyer be ready? Margaret, are you sure? Once we do this, she's been to an underground clinic. If she's pregnant and tries to pass it off as Michael's, he'll raise another man's child unknowingly. Your grandchild would be living a lie from birth. God damn her, James whispered, and for the first time I heard his composure crack. My daughter is a monster. Then let's stop her, before she destroys anyone else. We finalized our plans while I sat in my Tesla outside my own home, watching the rain wash the streets clean. Tomorrow night, Ashley wanted to cook for the family. She'd serve dinner in my kitchen, at my table, with my husband and son. It would be her last performance. The text from Robert came as I walked inside. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. I checked the AirTag. He was at the Shutters Hotel in Santa Monica. With her probably celebrating their successful extortion, planning their future with my money and my son's inheritance. But they didn't know that their victim had become the prosecutor, that their secret was no longer safe. That tomorrow, at Ashley's special family dinner, dessert would be served with a side of destruction. The rain intensified, drumming against the windows like an accusation, or maybe an absolution. Either way, tomorrow, the storm would break. And Ashley Parker, or whatever her real name was, would learn that hell hath no fury like a mother protecting her son. Friday afternoon, I sat in my home office staring at the manila folder that would destroy my son's world. Tom Rodriguez had delivered the final evidence this morning: 43 photographs, bank statements, hotel receipts, and the DNA test results from the pregnancy test Ashley had taken at the underground clinic. Positive. 10 weeks along. 10 weeks. The timeline burned into my brain. Ashley had been sleeping with Robert for 4 months. The child she carried could belong to either my husband or my son. My phone buzzed. Michael, Mom, can I come over? Need to talk. Something's wrong with Ashley. My hands trembled as I typed back. Of course, sweetheart, come now. I had 30 minutes to decide how to tell my son that his wife was pregnant with a child that might be his father's. 30 minutes to find words that didn't exist in any language for this level of betrayal. Sarah Williams had advised waiting until after the legal documents were filed. James Parker wanted to handle Ashley first. But Michael was coming here now, already sensing something in the wreckage of his marriage. I couldn't let him walk back into that house, into her web, without knowing the truth. The front door opened. Mom? His voice, the same voice that had called for me after nightmares, that had excitedly told me about his first girlfriend, that had broken when asking me to help pick out Ashley's engagement ring. In my office, sweetheart. He appeared in the doorway, and my heart shattered. Michael looked haggard, his usual pristine appearance disheveled. His USC t-shirt was wrinkled, his hair uncombed. His green eyes, my eyes, were red-rimmed. Mom, I think Ashley's having an affair. The words hung between us. I stood, walked to him, took his hands. They were shaking. Tell me what happened. She's been distant for months. Secret phone calls, leaving for photo shoots that her agency doesn't know about. And yesterday, his voice cracked. Yesterday, I found a pregnancy test in the bathroom trash. Positive. But we haven't. She's refused to touch me for 2 months. Said she was stressed about work. 2 months. She'd been sleeping with Robert exclusively for 2 months. Michael, honey, sit down. You know something. It wasn't a question. His eyes searched mine, desperate. Mom, please, just tell me. I handed him the folder. He opened it slowly, like diffusing a bomb. The first photo, Robert entering room 247. Confusion crossed his face. The second photo, Ashley entering the same room. His breathing quickened. The third photo, them embracing through the window. The sound he made wasn't human. It was the noise of a soul tearing in half, a primal agony that no mother should ever hear from her child. The folder fell, photos scattering across my Persian rug like evidence of Armageddon. No, he whispered. No, Dad wouldn't. Ashley wouldn't. Michael. How long? The scream ripped from his throat, rage replacing denial. How long have you known? 4 days. I hired an investigator when I found... 4 days? He stood, pacing like a caged animal. You've known for 4 days that my wife is fucking my father? Hearing him say it, the crude truth of it broke something in me. I was trying to protect you. To figure out how. The baby, he said suddenly, his face draining of color. The pregnancy test. Oh God, is it his? We don't know. The timeline suggests it could be either... He grabbed my waste paper basket and vomited violently, his entire body convulsing. I held him as he heaved, my boy, my baby, sobbing and retching, while his world ended. 29 years old, he gasped between sobs. She's 29 and he's 51. My father is fucking my 29-year-old wife. My father. The rage came in waves. He stood, grabbed a crystal paperweight from my desk, a gift from Robert for my 40th birthday, and hurled it through the window. The crash was satisfying, glass raining down like tears. I'm going to kill him, Michael said, his voice deadly calm now. I'm going to drive to his office and kill him. No. I grabbed his arms. Michael, look at me. His eyes were wild, unfocused. He stood at my wedding. He gave the father's toast. He said Ashley was the daughter he'd always wanted. And the whole time. I know, baby. I know. How could you stand it? Knowing? How are you not burning their world down? Because I needed a plan. Because you needed to be protected. I pulled him close, and he collapsed against me, sobbing like he hadn't since he was 5 and our golden retriever died. Mom, I loved her so much. I thought we were going to have kids, grow old together. I bought her that stupid Bentley because she said it would help her career. I gave her everything. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. I introduced them. He pulled away, pacing again. I brought her home. I put them in the same room. If I hadn't, then she would have destroyed some other family. Michael, there's more you need to know. I told him everything. Ashley's history, her first husband's suicide, the blackmail, James Parker's involvement. Each revelation was another wound, but he needed the complete truth. She's done this before? This is a pattern? Your father is her third family member. That we know of. He laughed bitterly. I really know how to pick them, don't I? What kind of man marries a sociopath? A good man who sees the best in people. A trusting man who believes in love. I'll never trust anyone again. Yes, you will. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday. Stop. He held up his hand. Just stop. Don't give me hope. Don't tell me it gets better. My wife is pregnant, possibly with my father's baby. There is no better. Rosa appeared in the doorway, taking in the broken window, the scattered photos, Michael's devastated face. Should I call someone? Call James Parker, I said. Tell him it's time. Michael looked at me. Ashley's father? He knows? He's been investigating her for months. We're handling this together. Handling it how? Legally? Comprehensively. Completely. Michael picked up one of the photos. Ashley and Robert kissing in the Nordstrom parking garage. His hands shook. She called you Mom. She sat at our table every Sunday and called you Mom while she was... He couldn't finish. The photo crumpled in his fist. I want to confront them. Both of them. Together. Michael, I have the right, Mom. To look them in the eyes and tell them exactly what they are. My phone rang. James Parker. Margaret, Ashley just left the house in a panic. She got a call from someone at the clinic warning her that people were asking questions. She might run. Where's Robert? His phone shows him heading home. You're home. I looked at Michael. They're both coming here. Something dangerous flickered in my son's eyes. Good. Michael, promise me you won't. What? Hurt them? Like they hurt us? He laughed darkly. Don't worry, Mom. I won't touch them. I won't have to. The truth will hurt them more than my fists ever could. If you find this part truly thought-provoking, go ahead and hit like to show your support. Do you feel the same way as the character in this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. The sound of Robert's Porsche in the driveway made us both freeze. Then Ashley's Bentley. They were here, together. Stay calm, I told Michael, though my own heart was racing. Calm? He stood, straightening his shoulders. I just found out my wife is carrying a baby that might be my father's. Calm isn't in my vocabulary anymore. Robert's key turned in the lock. Margaret? I saw Michael's car. Is everything okay? Michael laughed, a sound devoid of any humor. Oh, this is going to be good. Footsteps in the hallway. 2 sets. They were coming. Ready? I asked my son. I've been ready my whole life, he said. I just didn't know it. The door opened. Robert entered first, still in his scrubs, looking confused. Ashley followed, her face pale, her hand protectively over her stomach. Her stomach, where the baby grew, the ultimate evidence of betrayal. Michael stood slowly, deliberately. Hello, Dad. Ashley. We need to talk about your baby. The color drained from both their faces. The storm had finally broken. The silence that followed Michael's words was deafening. Robert's surgical hands, those steady, precious hands he was so proud of, began to tremble. Ashley's perfectly glossed lips parted, but no sound came out. For once, the influencer had no words, no camera-ready response. Michael, Robert finally managed, his voice cracking like a teenage boy's. Son, I don't know what you think. Don't. Michael's voice was deadly quiet. Don't you dare call me son. You lost that right when you started fucking my wife. Ashley gasped, her hand flying to her throat in a performance of shock. Michael, how could you say something so disgusting? Your father and I... Stop. I stood, my legs surprisingly steady. Just stop, Ashley. We have photos, video surveillance, hotel receipts, 4 months' worth of evidence. The mask finally slipped. Ashley's innocent expression morphed into something harder, calculating. She looked between Robert and me, assessing, strategizing. You had me followed? Robert's indignation was almost laughable. Margaret, how could you violate our trust like that? Michael laughed. A harsh, broken sound. Our trust? Our trust? You're sleeping with my wife and you want to talk about trust? It's not what you think, Robert said desperately. Ashley and I, we never meant what? Michael stepped closer to his father. Never meant to destroy our family? Never meant to betray the two people who loved you most? Or never meant to get caught? Ashley moved toward Michael, reaching for his arm. Baby, please let me explain. Don't touch me. He jerked away so violently she stumbled in her Louboutin. Don't ever touch me again with the same hands that touched him. Michael, she said, tears suddenly streaming down her face. Were they real or performed? With Ashley. Who could tell? I love you. This is all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I pulled out the photos Tom Rodriguez had taken, spreading them across my desk like tarot cards predicting doom. Room 247 at the Moonlight Boutique Hotel. Every Tuesday and Friday? Is that a misunderstanding? Robert's face went gray. He staggered to a chair, collapsing into it like his bones had dissolved. How long have you known? Does it matter? I asked. Would it change anything if I'd known for 4 days or 4 months? The baby, Michael said suddenly, his voice hollow. Whose baby is it, Ashley? She wrapped her arms around her still flat stomach protectively. It's yours, of course it's yours. We haven't had sex in 2 months. You said you were stressed. We did. That night after the Harrisons' party. I was in San Francisco at a conference. Try again. Ashley's tears intensified. I don't know. I don't know whose it is. The admission hung in the air like poison gas. Robert made a strangled sound, his head dropping into his hands. You don't know? Michael's voice was eerily calm. You're carrying a baby and you don't know if it's mine or my father's? This is insane, Robert said, looking up at me with desperate eyes. Margaret, please, we can work through this. 26 years. 26 years of lies, I interrupted. The Swiss bank account, Robert, the Cayman Islands, Singapore. $3.7 million you hid while I was transparent about every penny. His face went white. How did you? The illegal procedures, the insurance fraud, the cash patients. Did you think you were that clever? Mom? Michael looked between us, confusion mixing with his rage. What are you talking about? Your father's been hiding money for years, performing illegal surgeries, and for the last 4 months, he's been paying Ashley $25,000 a month in blackmail. Michael turned to Ashley, understanding dawning. You were blackmailing him? For the first time, Ashley's composure completely cracked. It wasn't blackmail, it was compensation for emotional distress. Emotional distress? Michael laughed bitterly. You seduced my father and then claimed emotional distress? He seduced me, Ashley screamed, her mask completely gone now. He came on to me at your birthday party. Said I was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, that I made him feel young again. So you spread your legs and destroyed our family? Michael's voice was ice. You want to know the truth? Ashley stood, her influencer persona completely abandoned. Fine. Your father makes me feel alive. The passion, the danger, the excitement. Everything you never gave me. The slap of her words was physical. Michael flinched, and I moved to him instinctively. I gave you everything, he whispered. You gave me stability. Boredom. The same restaurants, the same conversations, the same predictable life. She turned to Robert, who was shrinking into his chair. But with him, every moment was electric. Because it was forbidden, I said. Because you're sick, Ashley. Just like you were with Brandon Mitchell's father. Just like you were with your stepfather. Ashley went still. You don't know what you're talking about. Brandon Mitchell. Your first husband. Who killed himself after discovering you were sleeping with his father. Robert's head snapped up. What? Oh, she didn't tell you about that pattern? You're not her first father-in-law, Robert. You're her third. The door opened. James Parker entered, flanked by 2 security guards and a woman in a severe black suit. Daddy? Ashley's voice became small, childlike. What are you doing here? Ending this, James said coldly. Miss Morrison here has papers for you to sign. You're going to divorce Michael quietly, citing irreconcilable differences. You're going to leave Los Angeles, And you're never going to contact this family again. You can't make me. I can and I will. James's voice was steel. Sign or I release everything. The fraud scheme you've been running. The 3 fake charities you created. The 40 people you've scammed. Everything. Michael, Ashley turned to my son, desperation in her eyes. Baby, please. We can work this out. The baby could be yours. We can be a family. Michael studied her for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was completely emotionless. I would rather raise my father's bastard alone than spend another day married to you. Ashley's face crumpled. Real tears this time, I thought. The tears of a predator realizing the prey had escaped. As for you, Michael turned to Robert, who seemed to be aging before our eyes. You're dead to me. You died the moment you touched her. Michael, please. Robert reached for his son. No. Michael stepped back. I'm done. With both of you. He walked to me, kissed my forehead gently. I'm going to stay with Jeremy for a while. I can't be in this house. Michael, I love you, Mom. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. He looked back at Robert and Ashley one last time. You two deserve each other. A lying, cheating surgeon and a gold-digging sociopath. A match made in hell. He left, the sound of his BMW disappearing into the night. Ashley was signing papers, mascara streaming down her face. Robert sat frozen, looking at the space where his son had stood. Get out, I said quietly. Both of you, get out of my house. Margaret Robert started. Get out. The scream ripped from somewhere primal. Get out before I burn this whole place down with you in it. James Parker's security helped escort them out, Ashley to her father's waiting town car, Robert stumbling to his Porsche like a drunk man. I stood in my office, surrounded by evidence of betrayal, photos scattered like dead leaves. Rosa appeared with a broom for the broken window. It's over, Señora? No, Rosa, I said, looking at the empty doorway where my family used to stand. It's just beginning. The house felt hollow, echoing with ghosts of laughter that would never come again. But I was still standing. Broken, betrayed, but standing. And tomorrow, Sarah Williams would make sure Robert understood exactly what his passion had cost him. Everything. Saturday morning arrived with a call that shattered the brief silence in my life. It was Tom Rodriguez at 6 a.m., his voice urgent. Margaret, you need to come to my office immediately. Bring your lawyer. We've uncovered something massive. I hadn't slept. How could I? Michael's BMW was gone from the driveway where he'd always parked when visiting. Robert's side of the bed remained pristine, untouched. He'd texted once at 3 a.m., staying at the Beverly Wilshire. Please, can we talk? I deleted it without responding. Sarah Williams met me at Tom's office, impeccable even at 7 in the morning in her cream Armani suit. James Parker was already there, his face grim. What did you find? I asked. Tom pulled up a screen showing dozens of photographs. Ashley wasn't just blackmailing Robert, she's running an entire operation. The images showed Ashley with various men, some I recognized from the country club, others from charity galas, prominent doctors, lawyers, a federal judge, 2 city councilmen, even a senator. These are all from the past 18 months, Tom explained. She targets married men in positions of power, seduces them, documents everything, then bleeds them dry. How many? Sarah asked, taking notes. We've confirmed 14 victims so far, combined extortion value of approximately $4.2 million. I sank into a chair. $4 million? She's been running a blackmail ring while married to my son? James Parker spoke up, his voice tight with controlled rage. She has 2 accomplices, Brittany Chen and Sophia Marchetti, both influencers, both with similar patterns of targeting wealthy married men. Tom pulled up more documents. They call themselves The Collective. They share information, strategies, even victims. It's organized crime, essentially. The FBI needs to know about this, Sarah said immediately. They already do, James replied. I contacted a friend at the bureau last night. They've been investigating suspicious money transfers linked to several of Ashley's victims. This evidence connects everything. My phone buzzed. Michael, Mom, Jeremy's wife found something on Ashley's Instagram. You need to see this. He sent a link to a private Instagram account, at Beverly Hills Secrets. The bio read, Where truth meets power, DM for consultations. That's her blackmail recruitment page, Tom explained. She finds victims through social media, offers them exclusive investment opportunities, then traps them. Sarah was typing rapidly on her phone. I'm filing emergency motions to freeze all of Ashley's assets. If she's built this fortune through criminal enterprise, it's subject to seizure. What about Robert? I asked, though I hated myself for still caring. Is he just a victim or was he involved? Tom hesitated. There's no evidence he knew about the larger operation. But Margaret, there's something else. The pregnancy. Ashley had 3 appointments at that underground clinic. Different tests each time. What kind of tests? Paternity tests. She was trying to determine the father without medical records. The cruelty of it, shopping for the most advantageous father, made me physically ill. There's more, James Parker said quietly. The FBI found communications between Ashley and her mother. Her mother? You said she committed suicide. She faked it. Elena Hendricks has been living in Costa Rica for 15 years under an assumed name. She taught Ashley everything. This is a family business, essentially. Mother and daughter running long-term cons. The scope of deception was staggering. Everything about Ashley was a lie. Her name, her background, her mother's death, her feelings for Michael. My son had married a complete fiction. Sarah's phone rang. She listened, her expression darkening. Robert's at the hospital. Apparent suicide attempt. Sleeping pills. The room spun. Despite everything, my first instinct was to go to him. 26 years of marriage didn't just evaporate. He's stable, Sarah continued. But Margaret, this changes things legally. If he's declared mentally incompetent, his assets could be frozen, I finished. Ashley could claim power of attorney as next of kin. Not Ashley, Tom corrected. She's not legally next of kin anymore. James had the divorce papers filed at 6 a.m., but his medical practice partners could seize control. My phone rang, an unknown number. Hello? Is this Margaret Thompson? A woman's voice, nervous. Yes. My name is Patricia Carver. I was one of Ashley's targets, but I refused to pay. I have recordings of her threatening me, demanding $300,000, or she'd send photos to my husband. I heard the FBI is investigating. Can you come to my attorney's office? I gave her Sarah's address. Bring everything. Within 2 hours, Sarah's conference room was filled with victims. Patricia Carver, a pediatrician whose only crime was attending a medical conference where Ashley had deliberately targeted her. Marcus Chen, a tech executive Ashley had drugged at a charity event to stage compromising photos. David Morrison, a pastor whose counseling sessions with Ashley had been secretly recorded and edited to seem inappropriate. Each story was worse than the last. Ashley and her accomplices had destroyed marriages, careers, lives, all for money and the sick thrill of power. She told me I was special, Marcus Chen said, his voice broken. That her marriage was failing, that she needed someone who understood her. I thought I was saving her. She played the victim perfectly, Patricia added. Young woman trapped in a loveless marriage, seeking connection. She knew exactly which buttons to push. FBI Special Agent Jennifer Chen arrived at noon with a full team. Mrs. Thompson, we're executing search warrants on all 3 suspects' residences. We'll need your complete cooperation. You have it, I said immediately. We're also investigating the medical clinic. Dr. Kim has been performing illegal procedures for Ashley's network, including false paternity tests and unreported STD treatments. STD treatments. My blood ran cold. I need to be tested, I whispered to Sarah. Already arranged. This afternoon, discreet clinic. Michael arrived as the FBI was leaving, looking haggard but determined. Mom, I want to help. These people, they're all victims like us. Sweetheart, you don't have to. Yes, I do. She didn't just betray me. She used our marriage as cover for a criminal enterprise. Every event we attended, every person I introduced her to, I gave her access to victims. Agent Chen approached us. Mr. Thompson will need a statement from you. Everything about your marriage, her patterns, her contacts. I'll tell you everything, Michael said firmly, but first I want to know about my father. He's conscious, I said quietly, asking for both of us. Michael's jaw tightened. He made his choice. Michael, No, Mom. He's getting off easy with a suicide attempt. He destroyed our family for a con artist. He stole from my trust fund to buy her gifts. He betrayed everything. James Parker approached us. The FBI just called. They've arrested Ashley at LAX. She was trying to board a flight to Costa Rica with $800,000 in cash and a fake passport. Fake passport? Professional grade. This was always her exit strategy. Build up enough money, then disappear to join her mother. Sarah's phone buzzed. The medical board is holding an emergency meeting about Robert's license. The illegal procedures alone would end his career, but with the scandal. He's finished, I said, feeling nothing. Good. By evening, the news had broken. Beverly Hills blackmail ring exposed dominated every local channel. Ashley's Instagram, both accounts, had millions of views. The comments were brutal, her victims coming forward publicly. I sat in my empty house, Rosa bringing tea I couldn't drink. The family photos on the mantle mocked me. Robert and I on our wedding day, Michael's graduation, Ashley and Michael's wedding, where Robert had walked her down the aisle because her father couldn't make it. All lies. Every smile, every toast, every "I love you, Mom." My phone rang. Robert from his hospital room. For the first time in 4 days, I answered. "Margaret?" His voice was broken, weak. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "Sorry you did it? Or sorry you got caught?" "Both. Everything. Margaret, I love." I hung up. Love. He didn't know the meaning of the word. Tomorrow, Ashley would be arraigned. 14 counts of extortion, fraud, conspiracy. Her empire of manipulation finally exposed. But tonight, I sat alone in my beautiful house, successful career intact, fortune protected, reputation salvageable, and felt nothing but empty. The victory was hollow when the battlefield was your own family's hearts. Sunday morning at 5 a.m., the FBI descended on Los Angeles like an army of justice. I watched from my living room window as black SUVs lined the streets of Beverly Hills, Bel Air, and Westwood simultaneously. Jennifer Chen had called me at 4:30. "We're moving on all targets. Stay inside, keep your phone on." The news helicopters arrived within minutes, circling like mechanical vultures over Ashley's Westwood condo. The live stream on my phone showed agents carrying out box after box of evidence, computers, documents, designer bags that probably held more than just lipstick. Michael sat beside me on the sofa, both of us silent as we watched his life get dismantled on live television. He'd arrived at 4, unable to sleep, drawn back to the epicenter of destruction like a moth to flame. "They're at Brittany Chen's house now," he said, showing me his phone. Another live stream, another raid. Brittany being let out in handcuffs, her silk pajamas and no makeup a stark contrast to her usual Instagram perfection. My phone buzzed. Tom Rodriguez. Sophia Marchetti tried to run. Caught at the Canadian border with 2 million in cryptocurrency codes hidden in a teddy bear. A teddy bear. The banality of evil never ceased to amaze me. Sarah Williams arrived at 7, carrying a box of legal documents and 2 cups of coffee that smelled like salvation. "The FBI found something significant," she said, setting up her laptop on my dining table. "Ashley's operation goes back further than we thought. Much further." She pulled up a document. Elena Hendricks, Ashley's mother, has been running similar schemes since the 1990s. She trained Ashley from childhood. There are journal entries, recordings of lessons from when Ashley was 12 years old. 12? Michael looked sick. She was grooming her own daughter to be a predator? "The psychology report the FBI commissioned is disturbing," Sarah continued. "This isn't just crime. It's generational trauma weaponized into a business model." My phone rang. Robert's doctor. "Mrs. Thompson? Your husband is asking for you urgently. He says he has information about Ashley that the FBI needs. Tell him to tell the FBI directly. He says he'll only talk to you. Please, he's extremely agitated." I looked at Michael. "I'm not going alone." "I'm not going at all," he said flatly. An hour later, I stood in Robert's hospital room at Cedars-Sinai. He looked destroyed, gray-faced, hollow-eyed, aged 20 years in 5 days. The confident surgeon was gone, replaced by a broken old man hooked to monitors. "Margaret," he whispered, reaching for me. I stepped back. "You have 5 minutes. What information?" "Ashley. She has videos. Not just of us, of other doctors at the hospital. She was building a medical network, blackmailing surgeons, anesthesiologists, even hospital administrators. Why didn't you report this? She had videos of me performing the illegal procedures. Cash patients I treated in a warehouse in Koreatown. If those got out, he started crying. I could go to prison for 10 years. You chose your reputation over stopping a criminal? I chose protecting our family's lifestyle, he snapped, some of his old arrogance returning. The house, the cars, Michael's education, all of it came from those procedures. No, I said coldly. I paid for Michael's education. I paid the mortgage during your slow period. You chose greed, Robert, and then you chose lust. I loved her, he said quietly, and the words hit like a physical blow. You loved her? I laughed, bitter and broken. You destroyed our family for someone you loved? The way she looked at me, Margaret, like I was 30 again, vital, powerful, not just another aging doctor counting down to retirement. So this is my fault? I didn't make you feel young enough? You stopped seeing me years ago. I became just furniture in your successful life. The cruelty of his words, even now, even after everything, was breathtaking. Get the information to the FBI yourself. I'm done being your intermediary. I turned to leave, but his next words stopped me. She's pregnant with twins. The room tilted. What? The real ultrasound from the legitimate clinic. Ashley's carrying twins. And Margaret. The DNA test she had done at the underground clinic? She knows they're mine. Twins. Robert's twins. Growing inside my son's wife. I made it to the bathroom just in time, vomiting until my ribs ached. A nurse came to check on me, the same kind woman who'd helped me when my mother was dying in this same hospital. Mrs. Thompson, are you all right? No. I would never be all right again. When I returned, Agent Chen was there with 2 other FBI agents. Dr. Thompson has agreed to cooperate fully in exchange for consideration on the illegal procedure charges, she informed me. We've also frozen all of Ashley's assets, approximately $6.7 million in various accounts. $6.7 million, I repeated numbly, from destroying families. The victim count is now at 23. More are coming forward every hour. I left without looking at Robert again. In the parking garage, I found Michael leaning against my car, tears streaming down his face. She called me, he said. From Federal Holding, asked me to post bail. Michael, no. I laughed. I actually laughed. And then she said the babies need their father. Babies, mom, plural. And she had the nerve to say they need their father when she doesn't even know which father. I held my son while he sobbed in the parking garage of Cedars-Sinai, the same place where he'd been born 30 years ago, where Robert had cried with joy at his first breath, where we'd been a family, whole and perfect and full of promise. There's something else, Michael said, pulling back. Jeremy's wife found more Instagram accounts. Ashley was teaching courses, How to Marry Rich, Securing Your Future Through Strategic Relationships, $300 per session, thousands of young women learning to be predators. The scope kept expanding. Ashley wasn't just a criminal. She was creating an army of criminals. Sarah called. The judge denied bail. Ashley's been deemed a flight risk and a danger to the community. She'll remain in federal custody until trial. Good, Michael said viciously. Let her rot. That evening, the doorbell rang constantly. Reporters, neighbors, people I'd once called friends, all wanting to know how I couldn't have known. How could I have been so blind? But the truth was simpler and more painful. I'd known something was wrong. Every instinct had screamed warnings. But I'd chosen comfort over confrontation, stability over truth. By nightfall, number Beverly Hills blackmail was trending globally. Ashley's face was everywhere, the perfect influencer exposed as a perfect monster. Videos of her courses leaked, young women describing their successful extractions from married men. Mom, Michael said quietly as we sat in the wreckage of our life. What do we do now? We survive, I said, though I had no idea how. We survive, we heal, and we make sure she never hurts anyone again. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You think you've won? This is bigger than Ashley. The collective has chapters in every major city. Your family was just practice. E.H. Elena Hendricks, Ashley's supposedly dead mother. The war wasn't over. It had just begun. Monday morning brought a storm, both literal and figurative. Rain pounded Los Angeles as if the heavens themselves were furious, while FBI agents set up a command center in my dining room. Agent Jennifer Chen had insisted on protective custody after Elena Hendricks's threat. "This woman is more dangerous than her daughter," Agent Chen explained, spreading files across my mahogany table. "Elena Hendricks has been off the grid for 15 years, but her fingerprints are on fraud cases from Miami to Seattle. She's the architect. Ashley was just her latest prototype." Michael paced behind us, unable to sit still since the text arrived. So Ashley's mother faked her death, trained her daughter to be a predator, and now she's threatening us? "The collective appears to be a franchise operation," Agent Chen continued, "like a twisted multi-level marketing scheme for female con artists. We've identified similar operations in New York, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, and San Francisco." My phone buzzed. Sarah Williams. Emergency. Roberts had a stroke. Cedars, Sinai ICU. Despite everything, my heart clenched. 26 years didn't just disappear, even when they were built on lies. "I need to go to the hospital," I said. "Absolutely not," Agent Chen said firmly. "Elena Hendricks knows you'll come if Robert's condition worsens. It could be a trap." "A trap?" Michael laughed bitterly. "His stroke is a trap?" "The timing is suspicious. Right after the threat." My phone rang. "Dr. Morrison from Cedars-Sinai. Mrs. Thompson, your husband is asking for you. He might not make it through the night. There's bleeding in his brain." Michael saw my face change. "Mom, no. He doesn't deserve." "He's still your father, Michael. He stopped being my father when he started sleeping with my wife." But I was already grabbing my keys. Agent Chen assigned 2 agents to accompany us, Reynolds and Martinez, both armed, both alert. The ICU was a hive of controlled chaos. Robert lay unconscious, machines breathing for him, monitors tracking his failing body. Dr. Morrison pulled me aside. The stress triggered a massive hemorrhagic stroke. His blood pressure was 220/140 when the paramedics brought him in. "We've done surgery to relieve the pressure, but even if he survives, he'll likely never practice medicine again." Partial paralysis, cognitive impairment, best case scenario. If this part really struck a chord with you, tap that like button to let me know you're with me. Do you see yourself in the character's journey? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to hear your take. I stood over the man I'd once loved, now reduced to tubes and wires. His face was slack, asymmetrical from the stroke. This was the man who'd stood with me at altar, who'd held my hand through labor, who'd thrown everything away for a 29-year-old con artist. "I'll give you privacy," Dr. Morrison said, leaving us alone. Michael stood at the door, refusing to come closer. "How can you feel sorry for him?" "I don't," I admitted. "I feel sorry for us, for who we used to be." A nurse entered, young, blonde, pretty. She checked Robert's 4, then turned to me with an expression that made my blood freeze. "Hello, Margaret." The voice was wrong, older, calculating. "Elena Hendricks," I breathed. She smiled, Ashley's smile on a face that had been surgically altered but couldn't hide the predator beneath. "Very good, though I go by Nurse Patricia now." Agent Reynolds reached for his gun, but Elena held up a syringe near Robert's 4th port. "I wouldn't. This contains enough potassium chloride to stop his heart in seconds." "You're surrounded by FBI agents," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Am I? Or are half the staff here my people?" "The collective is everywhere, Margaret. Nurses, doctors, administrators. We've been recruiting for years." Michael stepped forward. "You're insane." "I'm a survivor," Elena corrected. "Just like my daughter." We take what the world won't give us. By destroying families, by recognizing that marriage is a business transaction, love is the con, we just make it profitable. She was absolutely insane, but the syringe remained poised at Robert's 4th. "What do you want?" I asked. $6 million transferred to an offshore account, Ashley's release, and safe passage out of the country for both of us. "That's not happening." Agent Chen's voice came from the doorway. She had her weapon drawn, aimed at Elena's head, dropped the syringe. Elena laughed. "You'll shoot me in an ICU? With all these witnesses? All these potential victims if you miss?" "I don't miss," Agent Chen said coldly. The standoff stretched, tension thick as the storm outside. Then Robert's eyes opened, unfocused, confused. He saw Elena, and his damaged brain made a connection his mouth couldn't properly form. Ash. Lay? He slurred. Elena looked down at him with disgust. No, you pathetic fool. I'm the reason Ashley exists, the reason she knew exactly how to destroy you. Something in Robert's face changed. Recognition? Rage? His hand moved, barely, toward the call button. Though I should thank you, Elena continued. You funded our operation beautifully. Those twins Ashley's carrying, they'll be raised to be even better than she was. 2 more soldiers for the collective. No, I said, the word ripping from my soul. Those babies are innocent. Innocent? Elena laughed. They're currency. Ashley can sell them for $100,000 each on the private adoption market, or raise them to be the next generation. Either way, they're profitable. The evil was incomprehensible. Using unborn children as commodities, raising them to be predators, it was beyond criminal. It was monstrous. Robert's hand finally found the call button, pressing it repeatedly. Alarms began sounding. Code gray. Code gray. Security to ICU immediately. Elena's composure cracked. She looked at the syringe, at Robert, at the agents with guns drawn. Real hospital security burst in, along with LAPD officers who'd been stationed in the hospital. You're surrounded, Agent Chen said. It's over. Elena's face transformed into something feral. It's never over. The collective has thousands of members. You can't stop us all. She moved the syringe toward Robert's fourth. 3 things happened simultaneously. Agent Chen fired her taser, Michael lunged forward, and I grabbed Elena's wrist. The syringe fell, shattering on the floor. Elena collapsed, convulsing from the taser. Within seconds, she was in handcuffs, screaming threats and profanities that would have made Ashley proud. You haven't won, she shrieked as they dragged her away. The twins will still carry on the legacy. Ashley will raise them from prison. The collective will. The doors closed, cutting off her rants. I stood there shaking, Michael's arms around me, while Robert stared at us with eyes that understood everything and could say nothing. The twins, Michael said quietly. We can't let Ashley raise them. Not from prison, not ever. The state will take them, Agent Chen said. Given the circumstances. No, I interrupted, my voice stronger than I'd expected. They're my grandchildren, regardless of who their father is. I won't let them become victims of this insanity. Michael looked at me in shock. Mom, you can't be serious. Raising Ashley's babies? They're innocent, Michael, and someone needs to break this cycle. Robert made a sound. Agreement? Regret? His hand moved slightly toward mine. I didn't take it, but I didn't move away either. Outside, the storm was breaking, sunlight piercing through clouds. Elena Hendricks was in custody. The collective was being dismantled city by city. But 2 innocent lives grew in Ashley's womb, and someone would need to fight for their futures. That someone, God help me, would have to be me. Tuesday morning arrived with Ashley's arraignment at the federal courthouse downtown. The media circus outside was unprecedented. News vans from every major network, photographers climbing over each other, reporters shoving microphones at anyone who looked connected to the case. I sat in the courtroom's 3rd row, flanked by FBI agents and Sarah Williams. Michael had refused to come, saying he couldn't look at Ashley without wanting to scream. James Parker sat across the aisle, his face a mask of controlled fury at what his daughter had become. When they brought Ashley in, the courtroom gasped collectively. Orange jumpsuit, handcuffs, belly visibly rounded now at 14 weeks pregnant. But her hair was still perfectly styled, her makeup somehow flawless despite federal custody. The influencer persona die hard, even facing decades in prison. She scanned the courtroom until her eyes found mine. The look she gave me was pure venom, her lips forming a silent message. This isn't over. Judge Patricia Hoffman, known for her zero tolerance for financial crimes, reviewed the charges. 23 counts of extortion, 15 counts of wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, money laundering. The list went on for 5 minutes. How does the defendant plead? Ashley's public defender, an overworked man named Carl Peterson, stood. Not guilty on all counts, Your Honor. The audacity. The evidence was overwhelming, yet she still played innocent. The matter of bail, Judge Hoffman continued. The prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney David Chang, stood immediately. The government requests remand, Your Honor. The defendant has access to millions in hidden accounts, a fake passport, and a mother who's demonstrated willingness to aid in escape. My client is 14 weeks pregnant with twins, Peterson interrupted. She needs proper medical care, which she can receive in federal custody, Chang countered. Additionally, we've uncovered evidence of ongoing criminal activity even while detained. The defendant has been attempting to coordinate with remaining collective members via coded messages to other inmates. Judge Hoffman's expression hardened. Bail is denied. The defendant will remain in federal custody pending trial. Ashley's composure finally cracked. You can't do this. I'm pregnant. Your babies need you to not be a flight risk, Judge Hoffman said coldly. Next hearing is set for 2 weeks. Court dismissed. As they led Ashley away, she turned to look at me one more time. Take care of them, she mouthed. Please. The plea in her eyes seemed genuine, but with Ashley, who could ever tell? Outside the courthouse, the reporters swarmed. Mrs. Thompson, how do you feel about raising your husband's illegitimate children? Will you forgive Robert? Is it true the collective has $1 million bounty on you? That last question made my blood freeze. Agent Chen quickly ushered me to a waiting SUV. Is it true? I asked her. About the bounty? She hesitated. We've heard chatter. Nothing confirmed, but we're taking it seriously. Back home, Michael was destroying things in the backyard. Robert's golf clubs, bent and broken. Photo albums, torn and scattered. His wedding album with Ashley, being fed page by page into the fire pit. Michael, stop, I said gently. Why? He threw another page into the flames. Ashley in her wedding dress, looking radiant and innocent. It was all fake anyway. The pain isn't fake, the anger isn't fake. You loved her. I loved an illusion. He grabbed the entire album and threw it into the fire. Every moment was calculated. Every kiss, every I love you, every time we. God, I feel sick. How many times did she sleep with me while carrying his children? I had no answer that could ease his agony. Sarah Williams arrived with documents. We need to discuss custody arrangements for the twins. Already? Michael laughed bitterly. They're not even born yet. Ashley's parental rights will likely be terminated given her crimes, Sarah explained. Robert is medically incapacitated and may not survive. That leaves me, I said quietly. It leaves me. Mom, you can't be serious, Michael protested. Those babies are proof of the ultimate betrayal. Those babies are innocent victims, I corrected. And they're your siblings, technically. Half-siblings, he spat. Spawn of my ex-wife and my father. It's like a Greek tragedy. My phone buzzed. Dr. Morrison from Cedars, your husband is asking for you. He's more lucid today. I found Robert partially propped up, the left side of his face still slack from the stroke. His speech was slurred but intelligible. March, Garrett. Robert. The twins. My fault. All my fault. Yes, I agreed simply. It is. Tears leaked from his functioning eye. Sore. Rye. So. Sore. Rye. Sorry doesn't undo anything, Robert. I know. He struggled to lift his functioning hand, pointing to a notepad, wrote, some thing. The handwriting was shaky, barely legible, but I could make it out. Everything to Margaret. The twins need her. Not their mother's evil. Please. You want me to raise them? He nodded desperately. Break. The cycle. You're good. Pure. They need that. I'm not pure, Robert. I'm angry. I'm bitter. I want to hurt you and Ashley the way you hurt us. But you won't. Too good. Agent Chen entered. Mrs. Thompson, we have a situation. Elena Hendricks is offering a deal. What kind of deal? Full cooperation. Every collective member, every victim, every hidden account, in exchange for witness protection. Absolutely not, I said. Margaret? She has information about operations in 12 countries. Human trafficking connections. This is bigger than just blackmail. Human trafficking. The evil kept expanding like a cancer. She's also claiming Ashley was abused as a child. programmed from age 5 to be a predator. There are videos, training sessions. Stop, I said, feeling sick. Just stop. The image of 5-year-old Ashley being trained to destroy families was too horrific to process. It didn't excuse her actions, but it added layers of tragedy to an already devastating situation. My phone rang. Michael, Mom, you need to come home. Now. I found him in the living room with Tom Rodriguez and a young woman I didn't recognize. She was perhaps 25, pretty in an understated way, holding a baby. This is Melissa Crawford, Tom said. She has something you need to hear. Melissa spoke quietly. Ashley Parker destroyed my family 2 years ago. Seduced my father, blackmailed him, drove my mother to suicide. But that's not why I'm here. She held up the baby, maybe 6 months old, with striking blue eyes. This is Emma. She's Ashley's daughter. From my father. The room exploded into chaos. Another baby? Ashley had another child? She abandoned Emma at a fire station when she was 2 days old, Melissa continued. I've been raising her, but with Ashley going to prison, she needs her real family. 3 babies. Ashley had 3 babies, the twins she carried, and this beautiful, innocent child she'd abandoned. I looked at Emma's perfect face, those familiar blue eyes that could have been Robert's or Ashley's or any number of her victims. How many more? I asked Tom. How many more children has she abandoned? We're investigating. At least 2 others that we know of. A breeding program of destruction. Children created and discarded like broken toys. Michael walked out without a word, the door slamming behind him. I held out my arms for Emma. She came willingly, gurgling happily, unaware that her mother was a monster and her father was a victim. 3 children, possibly more, all needing homes, love, stability. All carrying the genetic legacy of predators but deserving the chance to be different. I'll take her, I heard myself say. I'll take them all. Because someone had to break the cycle. Someone had to choose love over legacy. Wednesday morning, I sat in Sarah Williams's conference room surrounded by FBI files, custody documents, and photographs of children. 5 children to be exact. Ashley's abandoned offspring, scattered across California like breadcrumbs in her trail of destruction. Emma Crawford, 6 months old, abandoned in Pasadena. Agent Chen read from her report. Marcus Winters, 18 months, left at a hospital in San Diego. Sophia Chen, 2 years old, abandoned at a church in Sacramento. All DNA confirmed as Ashley's children. 5 children, plus the twins she carried. 7 innocent lives created as byproducts of her crimes. The fathers? I asked, though I dreaded the answer. 3 confirmed victims of the collective. 2 unknown, likely cash targets who never reported the extortion. Michael stood by the window, his back to us, shoulders rigid with tension. He hadn't spoken since yesterday's revelation about Emma. Where are these children now? I asked. Foster care, mostly. Marcus was adopted by a family in Oregon who don't know his history. Sophia is with temporary guardians. They all need to be told, I said firmly. These children deserve to know they have siblings, that they have family who wants them. Mom, Michael finally spoke, his voice strained. You can't save them all. Why not? They're victims too. Because you're 48 years old and about to go through a divorce that will destroy Dad. Because raising 7 children is exactly what someone needs to do, I interrupted. Unless you want them scattered through the system, potentially becoming like their mother? My phone buzzed. James Parker. We need to meet. Urgent. About Ashley's hidden accounts. An hour later, I sat across from James at his downtown office, a fortress of glass and steel that screamed power and money. He looked older, grayer, the weight of his daughter's crimes etched in every line of his face. The FBI missed something, he said without preamble, sliding a folder across his pristine desk. Ashley has $14 million in cryptocurrency, hidden across multiple wallets, accumulated over 6 years. 14 million? My voice came out strangled. From blackmail alone? Not just blackmail. She was selling something else. He pulled out surveillance photos, information, corporate secrets from her victims, insider trading tips. She had a whole secondary market. The scope kept expanding. Ashley wasn't just a predator, she was a criminal enterprise unto herself. There's more, James continued, his voice heavy. She kept recordings, videos of every encounter, every victim. Not just for blackmail, She was selling them on the dark web. Nausea rolled through me. Robert? At least 30 videos. Some explicit. My husband, the respected surgeon, starring in pornography he didn't know existed. The humiliation was complete. The FBI needs these, I managed. They'll have them within the hour. But Margaret, there's something else. Ashley had a partner we didn't know about, someone inside the FBI. The words hit like ice water. What? Agent Martinez, one of your protection detail. He's been feeding her information, warning her about raids, helping hide assets. Martinez, the quiet agent who'd stood in my home, supposedly protecting me while actually serving Ashley. Does again Chan know? She's arresting him as we speak. My phone rang. Dr. Morrison. Mrs. Thompson, your husband has taken a turn. You should come immediately. I found Robert struggling to breathe, machines screaming alarms. Dr. Morrison worked frantically with a team of nurses. Pulmonary embolism, he explained tersely. Blood clot to his lung. We're administering thrombolytics, but… Robert's eyes found mine, wide with fear. His functioning hand reached out desperately, against every instinct screaming, no, I took it. The… children, he gasped through the oxygen mask. Promise. Raise them. Right. Robert. Promise. The word came out as a desperate wheeze. Don't let to them become like her. I promise, I whispered, hating myself for still caring whether he lived or died. His grip loosened. The machines screamed louder. Dr. Morrison pushed me back as they worked, injecting medications, adjusting equipment. 20 minutes of controlled chaos before the alarms finally quieted. He's stable, Dr. Morrison announced, exhausted. But the next 24 hours are critical. I stumbled out to find Michael in the waiting room with Sarah Williams and two people I didn't recognize, a couple in their 30s, well-dressed, nervous. Mom, this is David and Jennifer Morrison. They've been fostering Sophia, the 2-year-old, Ashley's daughter with a technology executive who'd paid $300,000 in blackmail before taking his own life. We heard about the situation, Jennifer said carefully. We've had Sophia for 8 months. We love her, but she has siblings. She deserves to know her family. What are you saying? We want to adopt her, David said. But we also want her to know her brothers and sisters, to be part of their lives. Hope flickered for the first time in days. You'd maintain contact? More than that, we live in Pasadena, 20 minutes away. We could do regular visits, holidays together, make sure these children know each other. Michael spoke up. That's one child. What about the other 4? Plus the twins. Sarah Williams pulled out her phone. I've been making calls. The family that adopted Marcus in Oregon, they're willing to return him if it means he'll be with biological family. They never bonded properly. He has attachment issues from the abandonment. That's still 5 children, Mom, Michael said desperately. 5 traumatized, abandoned children plus twin newborns. You can't… I can, I said firmly. With help. With family. What family? Dad's dying, I'm destroyed, and you're about to be a single woman. With $30 million after the divorce, a 7-bedroom house, and connections to the best child psychologists in Los Angeles, Sarah interrupted. Your mother isn't doing this alone. Agent Chen arrived, looking grim. Martinez is in custody. He's been feeding Ashley information for 2 years in exchange for a cut of the profits. But that's not the worst part. Of course there was something worse. There always was. Elena Hendricks escaped. The words hung in the air like poison gas. How? James Parker demanded. During the transfer to federal prison, 3 guards dead. Professional hit team, she's in the wind. If this moment truly hit home for you, don't forget to tap that like button. It tells me you're right here with me. Can you see a bit of yourself in this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what part spoke to you most. Elena Hendricks, the architect of all this evil, was free, and she knew I was planning to take her grandchildren. We're increasing your security immediately, Agent Chen said. Elena won't give up easily. These children represent her legacy, her future soldiers. Over my dead body, I said quietly. That might be her plan, Agent Chen replied. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against every instinct, I answered. Hello, Margaret. Elena's voice, smooth as poison. I hear you're planning to steal my grandchildren. They're not property to steal. Everything is property, dear. Everything has a price. Even you. There's no amount. $50 million. I'll disappear forever. You keep the children. Everyone wins. Except your next victims. She laughed. There will always be victims, Margaret. Weak men who think with their anatomy instead of their brains. I'm just redistributing wealth from the stupid to the smart. You're a monster who trained her daughter to be a monster. I'm a survivor who taught her daughter to survive. But this offer expires in 24 hours. After that, well, accidents happen, even to FBI-protected families. The line went dead. I looked around the room at the assembled faces, Michael's anguish, Sarah's determination, James's fury, Agent Chen's professional concern. 7 children hung in the balance, 7 innocent lives who could either break the cycle or continue it. We don't negotiate with terrorists, Agent Chen said. No, I agreed. We don't. But as I looked at the photo of baby Emma in my arms, I wondered what I wouldn't do to protect these children from their grandmother's evil. The answer, I feared, was nothing. There was nothing I wouldn't do. Thursday morning arrived with armed guards stationed around my house like a military operation. Agent Chen had tripled security after Elena's threat, transforming my Beverly Hills home into a fortress. I couldn't even get my own newspaper without an FBI escort. Michael found me in the kitchen at 5 a.m., staring at custody paperwork for 7 children. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 days, hollow cheeks, bloodshot eyes, hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Couldn't sleep either? I asked. Every time I close my eyes, I see them together. He poured coffee with unsteady hands. Mom, the prosecutor called. They want me to testify. You don't have to. Yes, I do. If my testimony helps keep her in prison, keeps those kids safe from her influence, then I'll relive every humiliating moment. My phone buzzed. Dr. Morrison. Your husband is awake, asking for you and Michael urgently. I'm not going, Michael said flatly. He's dying, Michael. Good. The harshness in my gentle son's voice broke my heart. But how could I blame him? Robert had destroyed everything Michael believed about family, loyalty, love. I arrived at Cedars to find Robert more lucid than he'd been since the stroke. The left side of his face still drooped, his speech still slurred, but his eyes were clear, urgent. Margaret, need to tell you. Elena, we know she escaped. No, more than that. He struggled with each word. She has a list. Every collective member. Planning something massive. How do you know this? Ashley told me. Insurance policy. If caught, Elena would activate. Entire network. My blood ran cold. Activate them to do what? Mass. Destruction. Simultaneous. Attacks on. Victims. Financial. Personal. Everything. I immediately called Agent Chen. Within minutes, the hospital room was filled with FBI agents taking Robert's statement. Each word cost him enormous effort, but he pushed through, detailing Ashley's drunken confessions about her mother's doomsday protocol. 500 women, he gasped, maybe more, all waiting for signal. Agent Chen's face was grim. If this is true, we're looking at the largest coordinated fraud attack in history. Sarah Williams arrived as they were finishing. Margaret, we have a problem. Ashley's requesting an emergency hearing. She wants to terminate her parental rights immediately. What? Why? She says she wants the twins adopted before they're born. She's chosen the parents. The trap was obvious. Ashley didn't do anything without calculation. At the courthouse, the media circus had intensified. Photos of Ashley's abandoned children had leaked, and public opinion had turned volcanic. Signs reading Monster Mother and Satan's Daughter filled the plaza. Inside, Ashley sat at the defense table, her pregnancy now unmistakable at 15 weeks. She'd somehow managed full makeup and a designer maternity dress, orange, but styled like haute couture. Your Honor, her new attorney, a shark named Richard Blackwood, who'd appeared from nowhere, began. My client wishes to make arrangements for her unborn children's welfare. She has no right, Sarah Williams started. She has every right until those rights are formally terminated, Blackwood interrupted. And she's chosen adoptive parents, a lovely couple from Connecticut. He produced documents. Jonathan and Patricia Winters. Wealthy, connected, and according to the paperwork, willing to pay $2 million in medical expenses. "She's selling them," I said, loud enough for the courtroom to hear. "She's selling her babies." Judge Hoffman's eyes narrowed. "Mr. Blackwood, this appears to be a thinly veiled private adoption arrangement that borders on human trafficking. Your Honor, my client simply wants to ensure her children have the best possible life." "With strangers instead of blood family?" Sarah interjected. "Mrs. Thompson has offered to raise all of Ashley's children, keep siblings together." Ashley suddenly stood, chains rattling. "You want to steal my babies like you stole my life." The courtroom erupted. Guards moved toward Ashley, but she kept screaming. "You could never accept that Robert loved me, that he chose me. You poisoned Michael against me, turned my own father against me. You slept with my husband while calling me Mom," I screamed back, years of rage finally exploding. "You sat at my table, ate my food, accepted my love while destroying my family." Judge Hoffman's gavel crashed down. "Order, both of you, sit down immediately." But Ashley wasn't done. "Those twins are Robert's. Only Robert's. The tests prove it. And I'll die before I let you raise them." The admission hung in the air. The twins were definitely Robert's. No ambiguity, no hope that Michael might be their father, just pure, calculated betrayal. "Your Honor," Sarah said quickly, "given the defendant's obvious instability and admission of parentage, we request immediate termination of parental rights and emergency custody granted to Mrs. Thompson." "I also request a competency evaluation," Blackwood countered. "My client is clearly suffering from prenatal psychosis." "She's suffering from being a sociopath." Michael's voice rang out from the gallery. He'd come after all, unable to stay away. "She destroyed my family for money and thrills." Judge Hoffman slammed her gavel repeatedly. "Clear the gallery. This hearing is postponed until both parties can conduct themselves appropriately." As guards escorted people out, Ashley turned to me one last time. "You think you've won? My mother has plans. Those children will never be safe with you. Never." Outside, the media frenzy had reached fever pitch. Someone threw red paint at Ashley's transport van, screaming about justice for abandoned babies. The FBI had to form a human shield to get me to the car. "We've located 3 more collective cells," Agent Chen informed me during the drive. "Elena's network is bigger than we imagined. We're talking about a criminal enterprise worth hundreds of millions." My phone rang. James Parker. "Margaret, I just received a package. Photos of all 7 children with crosshairs on them." Elena's making her point. 7 innocent faces with targets on them. The message was clear: surrender or watch them all die. "We could use the money as bait," Agent Chen suggested. $50 million in traceable bills." "No." The voice was Michael's. "He'd followed us from the courthouse. We're not paying terrorists. We're not negotiating with evil. Those children will be protected by the FBI, by private security, by whatever it takes." He looked at me with his father's determination but my sense of justice. "Mom, we can't let them win. Not Elena, not Ashley, not the collective. We end this properly, legally, or we become like them." He was right. But as I looked at the photos of those innocent faces marked for death, I wondered if being right was enough to keep them alive. Sarah's phone buzzed. "Robert's surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. High-risk procedure to remove a blood clot. Survival odds are 30%. 30%. My husband of 26 years had a 30% chance of surviving to see the twins he'd created with his mistress." "There's more," Sarah continued. "The prosecutor wants to offer Ashley a deal. 25 years instead of life, if she provides evidence against Elena and the collective." "No," I said immediately. "She serves every day." "Margaret, be practical. Her information could save hundreds of victims and create hundreds more when she gets out in 25 years. She's a predator. She doesn't get deals." That night, I sat in my fortified home, surrounded by FBI agents and security systems, looking at photos of 7 children who might soon be mine. Emma, Marcus, Sophia, and 2 others whose names Ashley had never bothered to learn, plus the twins growing in her womb. 7 chances to break the cycle. 7 lives to save from becoming weapons. My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. "Hello, Margaret. This is Patricia Winters, the woman who wanted to adopt the twins. I'm actually FBI. We've been undercover for months, and I have information about Elena you need to hear." The game deepened. Everyone was playing angles, wearing masks, hiding truths. What information? Elena Hendricks isn't Ashley's biological mother. She bought Ashley when she was 2 years old, from another criminal organization. This goes back generations, Margaret. Generations of women buying, training, and deploying daughters as weapons. The revelation changed everything. Ashley wasn't just a victim turned predator. She was merchandise that had learned to sell itself. Friday morning, October 25th, Robert's surgery was scheduled for 8 a.m. Against every rational thought, I found myself in the surgical waiting room at Cedars-Sinai, watching the clock tick toward the moment that would determine whether my children would have a father, whether the twins would ever know the man whose recklessness created them. Michael sat 3 chairs away, refusing to acknowledge Robert's existence even in potential death. "If he dies, I'm not speaking at the funeral," he'd said flatly. At 7:45, my phone exploded with alerts. Sarah Williams calling, Agent Chen, James Parker, all simultaneously. "Margaret," Sarah's voice was urgent. "Ashley's in labor." "What?" "She's only 15 weeks. 24 weeks. She's been lying about the timeline. The twins are viable. 24 weeks. The math crashed through my mind. She'd been pregnant before she married Michael. The entire marriage was a cover for her pregnancy with Robert's children. "She's at County General," Sarah continued, "refusing medical intervention, says she wants them to die rather than let you have them." I ran through the hospital, Michael behind me, Agent Chen's team scrambling to follow. County General was 20 minutes away, but we made it in 12, sirens clearing our path. The maternity ward was in chaos. Ashley was screaming, fighting nurses, ripping out IVs. Her designer persona was completely gone, replaced by something feral, desperate. "Let them die," she shrieked when she saw me. "I'd rather they die than become your puppets." Dr. Elizabeth Chen, the head of obstetrics, pulled me aside. "She's fully dilated, refusing to push. If we don't intervene immediately, both twins will die." "She can't refuse life-saving care for viable babies," Sarah Williams said, appearing with a court order. "Judge Hoffman signed this 10 minutes ago. Emergency custody to Mrs. Thompson. Effective immediately." Ashley's screams turned to rage. "You can't steal them. They're mine. Mine to destroy if I choose." But the medical team was already moving, preparing for emergency intervention. Within minutes, Ashley was sedated, the delivery proceeding despite her protests. At 9:23 a.m., baby A was born, a boy, 3 pounds 2 ounces, fighting but alive. At 9:27, baby B followed, another boy, 2 pounds 14 ounces, smaller but equally determined to survive. I stood at the NICU window watching these tiny humans fight for life while their mother was restrained in recovery, screaming threats through her sedation. My grandchildren, Robert's sons, Michael's brothers, the innocent products of calculated evil. "They need names," the nurse said gently. "Thomas and James," I said without hesitation, after my father and Michael's middle name. Michael stood beside me, tears streaming down his face. "They're so small, so innocent. How could she want them dead?" "Because she can't weaponize them now," Agent Patricia Winters, the undercover FBI agent, said, joining us. "Margaret, we need to talk, privately." In a conference room, she laid out files that rewrote everything we thought we knew. Ashley Parker was born Catherine Volkov. Her biological parents were Russian criminals who sold children to wealthy Americans. Elena bought her at age 2 for $50,000. Bought her? Like cattle. Elena had lost her own daughter in a custody battle. So she purchased a replacement and trained her from toddlerhood to be the perfect weapon. The psychological reports from Ashley's arrest are horrifying. She was taught to seduce before she could properly write. Shown pornography at age 6, trained to identify and exploit weakness before she hit puberty. The horror of it made me physically ill. Ashley wasn't just a predator, she was programmed malware in human form. "There's more," Patricia continued. "Elena Hendricks isn't working alone. She's part of an international trafficking ring that's been operating for 40 years. They call themselves the Sisterhood. They buy, train, and deploy girls as weapons against wealthy families." "How many?" "Thousands, across 12 countries. Ashley was their most successful product until now." My phone buzzed. "Dr. Morrison." "Your husband survived surgery." "Barely. He's asking for you." I found Robert in recovery, more machine than man now. His eyes flickered open when I entered, focusing with difficulty. The twins? Alive. Both boys. Thomas and James. Tears leaked from his eyes. I'm sorry. So sorry. Loved her. Thought she loved me. She loved no one, Robert. She wasn't capable. She was trained from age 2 to destroy families. The shock in his eyes was genuine. 2? She was a purchased child, trained to be a weapon. You were targeted, Robert. We all were. He closed his eyes, the weight of his foolishness finally crashing down. Michael? Won't forgive you. May never forgive you. Good. He shouldn't. I don't deserve. The machines beeped frantically. Dr. Morrison rushed in. He's going into cardiac arrest. I was pushed out as they worked on him. 30 minutes of CPR, electric shocks, medications injected directly into his heart. I watched through the window as my husband of 26 years fought for a life he'd destroyed. Michael appeared beside me. Let him go, Mom. Just let him go. But at 10:47 a.m., Robert's heart started beating again. Weak, irregular, but beating. He's stable, Dr. Morrison announced, but he's in a coma. We don't know if he'll wake up. In the hallway, Agent Chen was waiting with devastating news. Elena's been captured, but not by us. The sisterhood took her. What? She was skimming from them. Ashley's millions? Most of it belonged to the sisterhood. Elena kept it, planned to run with it. They don't tolerate theft. So she's dead? Worse. They're making an example of her. The video they sent, I won't describe it, but she won't be threatening anyone again. Justice, delivered by criminals to a criminal. There was no satisfaction in it, only more horror. Sarah Williams arrived with more custody papers. All 7 children are officially yours, pending final adoption proceedings. The other families have agreed to your guardianship. 7 children, 3 abandoned, 2 hidden and premature twins whose mother wanted them dead rather than free. That afternoon, I stood in the NICU, holding Thomas while Michael reluctantly held James. These tiny fighters, born into chaos, carrying the DNA of a predator and a fool, but deserving love nonetheless. What do we tell them? Michael asked. When they're older? About their parents? The truth, I said, age appropriately, carefully, but the truth, that their biological parents made terrible choices, but they're not defined by those choices. That they're loved, wanted, chosen. Ashley was wheeled past the NICU on her way to the prison ward, shackled to the gurney. She saw us through the window, holding her sons. The look of pure hatred she gave me could have melted steel. They'll know what you are, she screamed. They'll know you stole them. They'll hate you. No, I said quietly, though she couldn't hear me. They'll know they were saved. That evening, I brought Emma, the 6-month-old, to meet her brothers. She gurgled happily, unaware of the drama surrounding her existence. 3 of 7 children now in my care, with 4 more to collect. James Parker visited that night, looking older than his 64 years. I've set up trust funds, he said quietly, for all 7 children. They'll want for nothing. They need more than money. I know. That's why I'm also funding their therapy, education, everything. It's the least I can do for unleashing Ashley on your family. You didn't know what she was. I knew she was dangerous. I should have stopped her years ago. He paused. Robert? Comatose, may never wake up. Perhaps that's mercy. As visiting hours ended, I stood outside the NICU, watching 2 tiny boys fight for life while their mother faced life in prison and their father lay dying 3 floors up. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, collecting the other children, dealing with media, navigating legal complexities. But tonight, Thomas and James Thompson were alive, safe, and loved. The cycle was breaking, 1 heartbeat at a time. Saturday morning arrived with a convoy of social workers, each carrying a piece of my new reality. Marcus, 18 months old, arrived first from Oregon, a solemn toddler who didn't cry, didn't laugh, just watched everything with Ashley's calculating blue eyes. Then came Sophia, 2 years old, clinging to her foster mother Jennifer Morrison, who'd driven through the night from Sacramento. She has night terrors, Jennifer explained, tears in her eyes as she handed over Sophia's favorite stuffed rabbit. She screams for a mommy who never comes. By noon, my living room looked like a disaster relief center. 7 children ranging from 2 months to 2 years, each traumatized in their own way, each carrying the genetic legacy of a mother who'd abandoned them like broken toys. Michael stood in the doorway, overwhelmed. "Mom, this is insane. How are you going to manage 7 kids?" With help, a familiar voice said behind him. David Chen entered, carrying takeout bags from his restaurant, starting with lunch for an army. David. The widower I'd met 2 weeks ago at that tech conference, before my world imploded. He'd called daily since the news broke, offering support without pushing. "You don't have to," I started. "Margaret, you're attempting something superhuman. Let people help." Rosa had recruited her entire family, sisters, cousins, nieces, creating an informal daycare network. "Senora, these babies need love. We have plenty to give." The doorbell rang constantly. Deliveries of cribs, diapers, formula, clothes, some from strangers who'd heard the story, many from the country club women who'd once envied my perfect life. Jennifer Walsh arrived with a team of pediatric specialists. Every child needs full medical and psychological evaluation, pro bono. It's the least the medical community can do after what Robert. She didn't finish. Robert's name had become synonymous with shame in Los Angeles medical circles. That afternoon, Sarah Williams called with updates from Ashley's sentencing hearing. Life without parole on 23 counts. Plus consecutive sentences for child abandonment, fraud, and conspiracy. She'll die in prison, Margaret. Relief washed over me, followed immediately by exhaustion. What about her mother? Elena Hendricks' body was found in Tijuana. The sisterhood doesn't forgive betrayal. Another death in this tragic saga. I felt nothing. Elena had created the monster that destroyed my family. "There's more," Sarah continued. "Ashley's attorney is filing appeals claiming postpartum psychosis, childhood trauma, mental incompetence. It'll drag on for years. Let it. She's locked up. That's all that matters." That evening, while Rose's family handled the babies, David and I stood on my terrace watching the sunset. Michael was inside, awkwardly trying to feed Marcus, who kept turning his face away from the bottle. "Your son is struggling," David observed. "His ex-wife's children are now his siblings. His father betrayed him in the worst possible way. Struggling seems inadequate. Yet he's here, trying to feed a baby who represents everything painful. That's who Michael is. Good, despite everything." David was quiet for a moment. "My wife died 3 years ago. Cancer. I thought I'd never feel anything again. Then I met you at that conference, this brilliant woman talking about digital marketing strategies, and I felt possibility." David. "I'm not proposing anything, Margaret. Just saying that even in the darkest moments, life finds a way forward." Inside, baby James started crying, that thin, reedy wail of premature babies. I rushed to the makeshift NICU we'd created in the guest room. His monitors showed normal vitals, but he was inconsolable. Michael appeared with Thomas, who was also crying. "They know, don't they? Somehow they know their world is broken." "All babies know is need," I said, settling into the rocking chair with James. "They need food, warmth, comfort. We can give them that. Can we give them normal? No. But we can give them love despite abnormal." My phone buzzed. "Dr. Morrison. Robert is showing signs of awareness, not fully conscious, but responding to stimuli." Michael saw my face. "Don't tell me. I don't want to know." But fate had other plans. An hour later, Dr. Morrison called again. "He's awake, asking for you and Michael. He says it's urgent." "I'm not going," Michael said flatly. "Then I'll go alone." "Mom, he's still the twins' biological father. Medical history, genetic information. We need to know everything." I found Robert propped up slightly, more skeletal than human now. His eyes tracked my movement, alert despite the body's failure. "March. Garrett." Each word was agony. "The sisterhood. Elena's dead, Robert. The sisterhood killed her." "No, more than that. They're coming." "For what?" "The children. Elena. Promised them. 7 children, 7 new recruits. Already paid for." Horror washed over me. "They bought the children?" 50,000 each. Elena took. Payment Never. Delivered. They want. Their property. 7 innocent babies, pre-sold to an international trafficking ring. The nightmare deepened infinitely. When? Don't. No. Soon. Margaret. I'm sorry, so. Sorry. Protected Ashley. Made it worse. Yes, I agreed simply. You did. Kill me, he whispered. Please. Can't live. Knowing what I've done. You don't get to escape, Robert. You live with it, like we do. Back home, I found Agent Chen coordinating with FBI teams. We've confirmed Robert's intel. The sisterhood has activated cells in Los Angeles. They consider the children bought and paid for. Over my dead body. That's what we're trying to prevent. Security doubled. Armed guards at every entrance. Bulletproof glass installed overnight. My Beverly Hills mansion became a fortress, protecting 7 tiny refugees from a war they didn't start. If this scene touched your heart, tap, like to let me know it resonated with you. Do you see a glimpse of your own story in theirs? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. David stayed, sleeping on the couch, helping with night feedings. You don't have to do this alone, he kept saying. But I was alone, in the ways that mattered. Alone with the decision to raise my husband's illegitimate children. Alone with the knowledge that Ashley had played us all from the beginning. Alone with the fear that the sisterhood would come for these babies. 3 a.m. found me in the nursery, all 7 children finally sleeping, Emma in her crib, sucking her thumb, Marcus and Sophia sharing a toddler bed, curled together like puppies, the twins in their incubators, fighting for every breath, 2 other toddlers, Ben and Lily, Ashley's children with victims whose names we still didn't know, peaceful for once. Michael stood beside me. We're going to lose, aren't we? The sisterhood, the appeals, the media, something's going to take them away. No, I said firmly, we're not losing anyone else. How can you be sure? Because I'm Margaret Thompson. I've run million-dollar campaigns, navigated corporate politics, survived 26 years with your father. I'm not losing to criminals who think children are property. And if they come, then they'll learn what a mother's rage really looks like. Dawn broke over Los Angeles, painting the sky in shades of hope. 7 children stirred, beginning their chorus of needs. Rosa's family arrived, bottles and diapers ready. David started breakfast, treating chaos like choreography. This was my new life. Not the one I'd planned, not the one I'd wanted, but the one that needed me. My phone showed 15 missed calls from reporters, 20 texts from concerned friends, and 1 message that chilled me. The children were bought and paid for. We're coming to collect. The sisterhood. I looked at 7 innocent faces, then at Michael, David, Rosa, and the FBI agents stationed outside. Let them come, I said quietly. They have no idea what they're up against. A mother protecting her children, even adopted, even unwanted pregnancies from affairs, was the most dangerous creature on earth. The sisterhood was about to learn that lesson. Sunday morning shattered with the sound of breaking glass. 3 a.m., the security alarms screaming as masked figures rappelled down from the roof. I grabbed the panic button, then the gun Sarah Williams had insisted I keep in my nightstand. Nursery! I screamed to the FBI agents as I ran barefoot through the hallway. 7 children, 7 innocent targets. The nursery door exploded inward before I reached it. 3 women in black tactical gear stood among the cribs. One held Emma, my 6-month-old granddaughter, who wailed in terror. Put her down, I said, gun raised, my hands surprisingly steady. The lead woman laughed, pulling off her mask. She was beautiful in that cold, sculpted way, maybe 35 Eastern European features, dead eyes. Mrs. Thompson, I'm Natasha, Northeast Division of the Sisterhood. These children belong to us. These children belong to no one. They're human beings. They're investments, $50,000 each, paid in advance to Elena. We're simply collecting our merchandise. Marchandise. The word ignited rage so pure it burned away fear. FBI agents flooded the room, weapons drawn. Agent Chen at the lead. Drop the child. Now. Natasha smiled, shifting Emma to shield herself. You'll shoot a baby? I'll shoot you the second you give me a clear shot, Chen replied coldly. Michael appeared in the doorway with a baseball bat, David Chen behind him with a kitchen knife. My son's face was pure fury. Those are my siblings, Michael said. Put her down. Your siblings? Natasha laughed. These bastards your father created with his whore? You defend them? They're innocent, unlike you." The standoff stretched taut. Emma's cries pierced the air. The twins' monitors beeped frantically. Then Sophia, the 2-year-old, did something unexpected. She toddled over to Natasha and bit her leg. Hard. Natasha shrieked, dropping Emma. I dove, catching her inches from the floor. Agent Chen's team moved instantly, taking down all 3 intruders before they could react. "Sophia, honey, come here," I called, but the toddler stood her ground, glaring at Natasha with Ashley's blue eyes but none of her mother's evil. "Bad lady," she declared. "No hurt babies." Even at 2, she was protecting her siblings. As FBI agents cuffed the intruders, Natasha looked at me with venomous hatred. "This isn't over. The sisterhood has thousands of members. We'll keep coming." "Then we'll keep stopping you," I said, holding Emma tight. "Every single time." They dragged her away, but her words lingered. Thousands of members. How could we fight an army? Dawn brought lawyers, social workers, and news vans. The attempted kidnapping was already trending. Beverly Hills baby battle, the tabloids screamed. My phone rang constantly. James Parker arrived with a security team that looked like military special forces. "Private contractors," he explained. "Former Navy SEALs. They'll supplement the FBI. I can't afford." "You're not paying. These are my grandchildren too, in a way. I failed to stop Ashley. I won't fail these children." Dr. Morrison called from Cedars. "Robert's taken another turn. He's asking for you. He says it's about the sisterhood's plans." I found Robert barely conscious, fighting for each word. "They have adoption papers. Forged, but perfect. Judge in their pocket." "Which judge?" "Hamilton. Federal. Court. Elena. Blackmailed him. Videos with underage. Judge Hamilton, who'd been scheduled to review the custody arrangements tomorrow." "Thank you," I said, already texting Agent Chen. Robert grabbed my wrist with surprising strength. "The twins. My fault. All my fault. But Margaret. Love them. Please. Love them. Despite me." "I already do." Tears leaked from his eyes. "Michael? Won't forgive you." "Good. Tell him. Good. Tell him. Be better than his father." The monitors went wild. Dr. Morrison rushed in with a crash team. This time, I didn't stay to watch. Robert had given us what we needed. His death or survival mattered less than stopping the sisterhood. Back home, controlled chaos reigned. Rosa's family had created a fortress of normalcy, babies being fed, toddlers playing, the domestic rhythms of life continuing despite the danger. Sarah Williams arrived with shocking news. Ashley's dead. The words hit like ice water. "What? How?" "Suicide. Somehow got hold of a sharpened toothbrush. Left a note." She handed me a paper, Ashley's perfect handwriting even in death. "Margaret, you win. But know this. I loved him. Robert was the only real thing in my fake life. The children are cursed with my blood. They'll become like me no matter what you do. Tell Michael I'm sorry for everything except loving his father. A." Michael read it over my shoulder, manipulative until the end. "Or truthful for once," David said quietly. "Sometimes even monsters have moments of clarity." Agent Chen called. "We've arrested Judge Hamilton. He's confessing everything. The sisterhood has compromised dozens of officials. We're talking about a corruption network beyond imagination." That afternoon, an unexpected visitor arrived. Patricia Peterson, the woman whose husband had his $80 million divorce handled by Sarah Williams. "I heard about your situation," she said, elegantly dressed but with kind eyes. "I want to help." "Why?" "Because my husband's mistress was trained by the sisterhood too. I've been funding efforts to stop them for 3 years. I have resources, connections, and a very personal interest in destroying them." She handed me a check. $10 million. For the children's future. And for the war we're about to fight. I can't accept. "You can and you will. Those 7 children are symbols now. If we can save them, raise them right, we prove the sisterhood's ideology wrong. We prove love conquers training." That evening, as I supervised bath time for 7 babies with Rosa's help, my phone rang. Unknown international number. Hello, Margaret. The voice was cultured, British, female. I'm the Mother Superior of the Sisterhood. I believe you have our property. I have 7 children who will never be your victims or your weapons. We have legal documents. Contracts signed by Elena. Elena's dead. Her contracts died with her. We have copies, and judges, and lawyers, and politicians. We can make your life impossible. You can try. She laughed, a sound like crystal breaking. Oh, my dear, we don't try, we succeed. Ask Ashley. Oh, wait, you can't. The cruelty was breathtaking. You killed her? We enabled her final choice. She knew the punishment for failure. You're monsters. We're businesswomen. And you're bad for business. Goodbye, Margaret. Enjoy the children while you can. The line went dead. I looked at 7 innocent faces, Emma reaching for toys, Marcus taking his first steady steps, Sophia singing to her stuffed rabbit, the twins growing stronger each day, Ben and Lily playing together. They weren't property. They weren't weapons. They were children who deserved love, safety, and the chance to choose their own paths. My phone buzzed. Doctor. Morrison. Robert passed away at 7:43 p.m. His last word was, sorry. I felt. Nothing. Then everything. 26 years of marriage reduced to a final apology that changed nothing. Michael stood beside me. He's gone? Yes. Good. But tears streamed down his face as he said it. Grief for the father he'd thought he had, not the man who'd died. What do we do now? He asked. We raise these children. We fight the sisterhood. We break the cycle. And if they keep coming? I looked at my son, broken but standing, betrayed but still capable of love. Then we keep fighting. Family isn't about blood or DNA or perfect marriages. It's about choosing to love despite the pain. These children didn't choose their parents, but we can choose to be their family. David appeared with dinner, Patricia Peterson with more security guards, Rosa with bottles for the twins, a makeshift army united by compassion rather than crime. The sisterhood thought they were coming for property. They were about to meet a family. 5 years had passed since that terrible October when my world collapsed and rebuilt itself around 7 innocent children. The Beverly Hills mansion that once echoed with betrayal now rang with laughter, homework arguments, and the beautiful chaos of a large family bound not by conventional blood, but by something stronger, choice, and love. Mom! Thomas called from the kitchen, now 5 years old with Robert's eyes but none of his deception. James took my cereal again. I stood in the doorway, watching my twin grandsons turned sons navigate their morning rivalry. The knowledge that they'd been born from such darkness yet grew toward light filled me with profound gratitude. This was the first lesson life had taught me, that origin doesn't determine destiny. Michael entered with his wife Emma, not Ashley's abandoned daughter, but a pediatric psychiatrist he'd met during the children's therapy sessions. Their wedding last year had been small, genuine, everything his first marriage hadn't been. If this part touched something deep inside you, hit that like button so I know it reached you. Do you see your own reflection in this character's journey? Tell me in the comments your story might just inspire someone else. The lawyers called, Michael said quietly. The sisterhood's final appeal was denied. They have no legal claim to any of the children. 5 years of legal battles, $30 million in legal fees, but we'd won. The education these children would receive about standing up to evil, about fighting for what's right regardless of cost, that was priceless. David Chen, now my husband of 3 years, wrapped his arms around me from behind. You did it, Margaret. You saved them all. We did it, I corrected. All of us. The doorbell rang. Sophia, now 7 and fierce as a warrior princess, ran to answer it. It's Grandpa James. James Parker had become an unexpected grandfather figure to all 7 children, his guilt over Ashley transforming into fierce protection of her victims. He'd spent over $50 million dismantling the sisterhood's operations, funding rescue operations for other children they'd trafficked. Margaret, he said, his face grave. There's someone here to see you. Behind him stood a woman I recognized from photographs but had never met. Patricia Mitchell, Brandon Mitchell's mother, Ashley's first mother-in-law, whose son had taken his own life after discovering Ashley's affair with his father. I needed to see them, she said, tears streaming down her weathered face. the children. To know that something good came from all that evil. The knowledge of shared pain, the lesson that tragedy can unite strangers. This was the second great education life provided. I led her to the playroom where all 7 children were gathered for Saturday morning cartoons. Emma, now 5.5, was braiding Lily's hair. Marcus, almost 7, was building elaborate Lego structures with Ben. The twins were arguing over superhero rankings, while Sophia mediated with the authority of an eldest sister. Patricia gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. They're just children. Normal, happy children. That's all they've ever been, I said gently. Ashley and Robert's crimes weren't genetic destiny. These children chose kindness despite their origin. Patricia knelt down, and Emma, always the most empathetic, walked over and patted her shoulder. "Why you sad, lady?" "I'm not sad anymore, sweetheart," Patricia whispered. "Seeing you all, it's like watching flowers grow from ashes." The metaphor struck deep. These children were exactly that, beauty from destruction, hope from despair. Michael's phone rang. He answered, his face paling. "The prison. There's been an incident." My blood froze. "Ashley?" "No, Elena Hendricks. She's alive. She's been in witness protection, and she's demanding to see the children." The room erupted. James Parker's face went purple with rage. That monster is supposed to be dead. David immediately called Agent Chen, who arrived within 20 minutes with a full FBI escort. "It's true," Chen confirmed. "Elena faked her death with FBI help in exchange for testifying against the Sisterhood's leadership. She's been in federal custody under a new identity." "And now?" I demanded. "She's dying. Pancreatic cancer. She has weeks, maybe days. She's requesting one meeting with the children she calls her legacy." "Absolutely not," Michael said firmly. But Thomas, wise beyond his 5 years, spoke up. "Who's Elena?" The moment of truth. The lesson about honesty, about trust built through difficult conversations. This was the third crucial education. "She was your biological mother's mother," I said carefully. "She made very bad choices that hurt many people. Is she sorry?" James, always the more sensitive twin, asked. "I don't know, sweetheart." "Maybe we should find out," Sophia said with startling maturity. "Grandma Margaret, you taught us about forgiveness, not for bad people but for ourselves." From the mouths of babes came the fourth lesson, that forgiveness isn't about the perpetrator but about freeing ourselves from hate's prison. 3 days later, I stood with all 7 children outside a federal medical facility. Elena, skeletal and dying, lay propped in a hospital bed behind reinforced glass. "My legacy," she whispered through the intercom, her voice a shadow. "Look what Margaret Thompson has done to my legacy." "She loved us," Sophia said clearly. "She gave us knowledge of right and wrong. She gave us education about choices. She gave us family." Elena's eyes filled with tears, perhaps the first genuine emotion she'd ever shown. "I trained Ashley from birth to take, to destroy, to survive. And you've made them into children," I said firmly, "just children who deserved better than your poison." Elena studied each small face, perhaps seeing Ashley in their features, perhaps seeing the army she'd hoped to build now transformed into something she couldn't understand, a loving family. "I'm sorry," she whispered, the words seemingly torn from her soul. "I thought I was teaching survival. I was teaching destruction. The knowledge I gave Ashley. It was poison, disguised as power." She died that night, taking with her the last direct link to the Sisterhood's evil. Standing in our garden a week later, watching the children play while Michael and Emma announced their pregnancy, while David planted vegetables with the twins, while Patricia Mitchell and James Parker shared coffee and healing conversation, I reflected on the journey. The lesson was clear. Family isn't about perfect marriages or blood relations. It's about choosing love over fear, hope over history. These 7 children, born from deception and abandonment, had become the greatest truth of my life. The knowledge that love conquers training, that nurture defeats nature when applied with patience and dedication, this was the education worth sharing. "Mom," Thomas said, tugging my hand. "Are you happy?" I looked at my unconventional, beautiful, chaotic family. At Michael, rebuilt from betrayal into a man of integrity. At David, who'd chosen to love not just me but 7 damaged children. At James Parker, who'd transformed guilt into generosity. At Patricia Mitchell, who'd found peace in seeing good emerge from tragedy. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm happy." even though Daddy was bad? The fifth and final lesson, that happiness isn't the absence of pain but the choice to build something beautiful despite it, the knowledge that we can choose our own endings. Your biological father made terrible mistakes, but those mistakes brought you into my life. And you, all 7 of you, are not mistakes. You're miracles. Dear viewers of Voices of Auntie Rose, this story of betrayal and redemption, of evil transformed into good, reflects real struggles many families face. How many of you have had to rebuild from betrayal? How many have chosen to love children not biologically yours? The education we give our children about resilience, about choosing love over legacy, shapes generations. What did you think of Margaret's journey? Could you forgive like she did? Would you raise 7 children born from your husband's affair and criminality? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from your hearts, your own stories of overcoming betrayal and choosing love. The knowledge that we're not alone in our struggles, the lessons we learn from shared pain, the education we provide by example, these are the gifts we give each other through our stories. Please subscribe to Voices of Auntie Rose and hit that like button if this story touched your heart. Share it with anyone who needs to know that beautiful endings can grow from tragic beginnings. We post new, compelling stories every day that explore the depths of human nature and the heights of human resilience. To everyone watching, may you have good health, joyful days, and inner peace. May you find the strength to write your own endings, regardless of how your story began. Goodbye for now, and see you in our next video, where another incredible story of human triumph awaits. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, remember, you have the power to choose your own ending.